across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 6 o'clock. I'm Simon Oxley. The headlines report says palliative care system needs a major overhaul. SNP leader would back Labour, and MK Dons maintain their challenge for automatic promotion.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
A report says more than 100,000 people every year in the UK don't get the care and support they need towards the end of their lives. Researchers say the palliative care system needs a major overhaul to meet growing demand. Dr Adrian Tuckman is from the charity Marie Curie, which commissioned the research.
Medical advances are enabling people to live longer, but people don't always live longer well. As people age, they have multiple medical problems and therefore their conditions are quite complex. Healthcare systems are not modelled in the correct way to manage the complexity that has to be dealt with now.
Ed Miliband will promise to abolish the non-domicile tax status if Labour wins power at the general election. People who are non-doms pay tax on money earned abroad, only if it's brought into the UK, or they pay a minimum charge of £30,000. Elsewhere, the Conservatives have promised to introduce resits for pupils who get poor results in their SAT tests at the end of primary school. And the SNP leader has offered to help Ed Miliband become Prime Minister. Nicola Sturgeon was speaking in a TV debate last night between party leaders in Scotland.
The polls say people don't want a majority Labour government because they know the last majority Labour government didn't deliver. I don't want David Cameron to be Prime Minister. I'm offering to help make Ed Miliband Prime Minister.
Air passengers at London Luton Airport have been warned to expect disruption because of a strike by air traffic controllers in France. Luton-based EasyJet is cancelling nearly 120 flights today. A white police officer in South Carolina has been charged with murdering a black man who appeared to be running away from him. A video shot by a witness in the city of Charleston prompted the authorities to take action. People living on a mobile home park in Hertfordshire say they're fed up with still not being able to get problems on the site resolved. The residents of Newlands Park near Abbots Langley say it's been over a year since the bases of some of the homes were reported as cracked to the owners. More from Tony Fisher.
The residents also want action over possible water leaks, access to bills and a way of communicating with the owners which isn't via their lawyers. They add trees are not maintained and are dangerously overhanging some of the homes. BBC Three Counties has been unable to speak to the owners via their lawyers, and Three Rivers District Council says the lack of communication is not within the remit of the licence and therefore they can't comment.
In sport, 2 goals in the opening 5 minutes from striker Will Grigg gave MK Dons a 2-0 win over Scunthorpe at Stadium MK. The win leaves Carl Robinson's side 5 points behind second place Preston in the race for automatic promotion.
Every time we play, first thing, Preston. And I'm not going to hide that from anybody. It's true. All we care about is we're focused on Preston.
The weather, another dry and warm day with plenty of sunshine, a maximum temperature 17 degrees Celsius. And you can get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/Three Counties.
Is it that Scouse Man's show? He's on more than me. Seriously, I don't even know who he is because I don't listen to the sport. Busy show today. I mean, so busy. It's the same as every other day. Catherine joins me next door.
Yeah.
And Kelly Betts is also there.
Hello.
It's a shame. Huh?
Say.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Let's have a bit of this.
You're not the only cuddly toy that was ever enjoyed by any boy. You're not the only choo-choo train that was left out in the rain the day after Santa came. You're not the only cherry delight that was left in the night and gave up without a fight. You're not the only cuddly toy that was ever enjoyed by any boy. You're not the kind of girl to tell your mother the kind of company you keep. I never told you that to love no other. You must have dreamed it in your sleep. You're not the only cuddly toy that was ever enjoyed by any boy. You're not the only choo-choo train that was left out in the rain the day after Santa came. You're not the only charity light that was left in the night and gave up without a fight. You're not the only cuddly toy that was ever enjoyed by any boy. You're not the kind of girl to tell your mother the kind of company you keep. I never told you that to love no other. You must have dreamed it in your sleep. You're not the only cuddly toy that was ever enjoyed by any boy. You're not the only cuddly toy that was ever enjoyed by any boy. La 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 da da. La 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 da da. La 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 la.
Now, the UK's end-of-life care system needs a major overhaul. That's according to a report commissioned by the charity Mary Curie. It says there are widespread inequalities in palliative care, suggesting those with non-cancer conditions are receiving considerably less than those with cancer. Well, Professor Martin Knapp is the London School of Economics Personal Social Services Research Unit Director and is behind the research. It's a long title, Martin.
It is a long title. I'm sorry about that. That's time in the morning.
Please don't apologise. I'm glad I managed to get through it. What kind of inequalities did you find?
Well, I mean, as you said just now, that people who do not have cancer, people who are dying of other conditions, seem to get less access to specialist palliative care and less good support from generalist care like GPs and district nurses. It's also the very old, people aged over 85 who seem to do less well in terms of getting that support. People living in more deprived areas, people from minority ethnic groups. It's those sorts of people that seem to be doing less well out of this system.
Why is that, do you think?
I think partly it's just that in the area of cancer care, we've had charities like Marie Curie, for example, who've done fantastically well in getting resources to support people. We haven't had the same push, the same emphasis in the non-cancer areas, I think. So that's one of the reasons.
And how did you go about finding these, getting these results, these findings?
Well, what we did, we looked at all the evidence we could possibly find that people have produced before. We also analysed some data that the government collect data from people who have been bereaved about the person who died, and some months after they've died, to ask about that experience of dying. And that's really quite rich data, and that's the main source of this information.
And what kind of differences are we talking about? Are we talking about the medication? Are we talking about the home visits? Are we talking about the hospice treatment? Or is it everything?
All of those. I mean, it's just that people who are losing out, or relatively losing out, are not getting the same access to pain relief. They're more likely to die in hospital than at home, where most people would prefer to die. They're not getting the same access to the specialist palliative care nurses, for example. So there's a whole range of things where disadvantage is occurring.
What needs to be done?
Well, yes, we need to spend more money, but I think in this case, quite often, if you do spend more money on these specialist services or on training GPs, you will save money elsewhere, because most people don't want to die in hospital. So if you can allow them to die in their own home, then you're also releasing a hospital bed for somebody else. So it's not particularly complicated response.
And what difference do you think it makes to A, the patient, and B, the family, for someone to die at home as opposed to a hospital?
I think it's where most people prefer to die. It's where they've lived. It's where they can be with their loved ones. It's where the environment is more peaceful. Lots and lots of reasons for that preference.
Martin, I appreciate you speaking to us at this ridiculous time in the morning. Thank you very much indeed. That's Professor Martin Knapp, who's behind the research. We can speak to Clive Goodson, who is the senior... Everyone's got such long titles this morning, Clive. What's going on? Hang on, let me have a run-up. The senior locality manager for the East of England Ambulance Service in North Bedfordshire. And breathe.
Good morning, Iain.
Morning, Clive. You're right. You guys, you get extra specialist training, don't you? Which allows more people to remain at home for palliative care.
Yeah, we've just started this in Bedfordshire, Iain. It's to do with the scheme that we have in Bedfordshire, the Partnership for Excellence in Palliative Support. We've joined in with our commissioning body at Bedford, and this is just extra training for our staff so they can help patients in their last days. So it's been very successful.
What kind of training do they have? What sort of stuff are people being taught?
They're just being taught more to do with the drugs that will be used in end of life to make life a lot easier for the patients, how they can speak to the relatives, spending more time with the patients, and it has been quite successful. We started the scheme for us in the ambulance service this year, just after January. We've got about 30% of our staff through the training, and the registered people to the palliative care scheme has now gone up due to that. So, keeping more people at home, like the speaker said before.
Well, and what do you think about this research that says basically people with non-cancer conditions are getting less treatment, less support than those with cancer? People from ethnic minorities and elderly people are also getting less than other groups.
Yeah, it's very difficult to talk about his report. Obviously, I can talk about what we do in Bedfordshire, that anyone who's been diagnosed, unfortunately, with who needs palliative care, if it's cancer or it's not cancer, goes through this scheme. As long as you're registered with a GP in our area, we'll make sure that you get put through to that scheme. And that's one thing. Using our ambulance crews, the people registered to the scheme has gone up because our crews are now referring people straight to the scheme. So it doesn't matter if you've got cancer or any illness. We want people to get the best palliative care possible, which we believe this scheme is doing. It's like a one-stop shop, Iain, for people on the scheme. They can ring, they can get all the help that they can, and that is through the specialist, through Sue Ryder at Moggerhanger.
Is it not depressing, Clive, working, I know it's not all of the job, but working with so many people that are dying?
Yeah, it can be, Iain.
How do you lot deal with it?
I think if our crews can walk away at the end of the day and they've done their best and made those last few days for the patient, for the families better, that's where our crews can get some help from it, and they feel a lot better themselves. Yeah. So, yes, it's not all about trauma for us. It is trying to do that support. And I think our crews can... I know since the scheme started that the crews have felt a lot better about it, that they feel that they are trying to give something back to the community. So I think that's how we would do it, Iain.
Clive, keep up the excellent work. Thank you very much indeed. That's Clive Goodson from the East of England Ambulance Service, 08459 455 555. Morning, girls. You've got to say, you're both looking pretty hot today, ladies. Tss. That's one for you, Catherine. Tss. That's one for you, Kelly. Oh, and there's a thumbs up for both of you. Great. Really makes these early mornings a little bit easier for me, having a bit of eye candy to look at through the glass while I'm doing the radio. You girls really have put a bit of effort in today. Tight jeans, Kelly. Short dress, Catherine. A little bit of slap on both faces. Wouldn't go amiss. Never mind, maybe tomorrow.
So when are you going to have a wash?
Sorry?
When are you going to have a wash?
Well, as the fella said to me in Selfridges yesterday when I was buying a pair of jeans, he said, what do you do for a living? Was buying jeans. None of your flipping business, mate, but I'll tell you.
Did you ask him what he did for a living?
I said, I work in radio. And he said, quote, oh, that's why you dress like that then. I mean, and he went, I see a lot of people in suits. Oh, Sonny Jim. I went in and I said, right, I want to buy some jeans. I was on a Mercy Dash. It means you're in and out, no messing around. I had a voucher. And I said, I want some jeans. I'm a dad. I want some dad jeans, but not too Tony Blair. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean by the Tony Blair?
Of course, yeah.
And he gave me... He said, I'll steer you away from these jeans. They're not in fashion. I said, don't steer me away from anything, sunshine. Let me try those on. I tried on for the first and last time in my life. Skinny fit.
Oh, no. Wow. How did they work for you?
For a second, I thought they felt very supportive. They felt supportive. They felt like a medical trust.
Yes.
And for a second, I thought, oh, I look all right at these. And then I was back in the room and I realised I look absolutely ridiculous.
Talk to Justin about the after effects of a too skinny gene.
Why? What? Can he not have children now? What is that? I don't know what that gesture means, the coffee gesture.
Well, it's a bit like, Jogger's nipple.
Yeah. Has his winkle fallen off? Oh, Justin, mate.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the North Orbital Road, that's starting to look busy on the speed sensors around the M25 junction 21A roundabout. But looking at the M25, it's moving fine through from Watford and High Wycombe. But a bit further afield at junction 26 for Waltham Abbey, a lorry's broken down and it's blocking a lane. On the trains, the Metropolitan line has severe delays because of a signalling problem at Harrow on the Hill. And Luton Airport is saying there's disruptions to flights to and from France because of strike action. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you very much. Is Sammy?
Yeah?
Where do you stand on skinny jeans?
I think for girls, really.
Yeah, well, I don't think anybody wears them well, but now I think I may have upset the team. I think Kelly Betts might be wearing skinny jeans, and I'm trying to
find... suit her as well. I bet she looks great.
Yeah, do you know what? Yeah, she does. She does look great, Sammy. I'm just trying to find the best way out of this scenario.
Wow, and you said I looked nice in my jeans the other day as well.
They weren't skinny. You couldn't pull off skinny jeans. You literally couldn't pull off skinny jeans.
Oh.
That's the chair.
Imagine when they're not in fashion anymore.
Yeah.
How silly we'll think we looked.
Oh, God, were we silly?
Well, do you know what's in now, Sammy? Massive flares.
What? Flippin' heck. Do you like jeans, Sammy?
I like jeans.
If anyone can pull off skinny jeans, it's Kelly Betts. But Catherine literally couldn't pull off skinny jeans. Literally couldn't pull them off your legs.
I'll help you out.
Wow.
It's all right. I'll help you out.
Butter.
Okay.
You want to butter... I'm buttering you up, and you want to butter your legs up.
Just stop talking.
Am I not helping?
No.
Hey guys, it's 6:17. How's it going? Yeah? You want some headlines? Great, got some. Here they come. Researchers say the palliative care system in the UK needs a major overhaul to meet growing demand. Labour says everyone living permanently in Britain should pay tax on everything they earn, even if the money is earned overseas. And in sport, Milton Keynes Dons kept up their challenge for automatic promotion with last night's 2-0 win over Scunthorpe at Stadium MK.
BBC Three Counties Radio. Every weekday morning.
Coming up at 9 on the Big Phone In this morning, is it a good idea to make jobless teenagers work for their benefits? How would you like this country to stand up to President Putin? Are you surprised to see British people being blatantly racist?
The JVS Show.
I think we've got to get over this issue about racism doesn't exist. It has existed. It will probably carry on existing.
What I wanted to say is they've got this completely the wrong way around. You know, that is also true. That is also true.
You will always get some, but they are such a minority.
I think the man's a buffoon. Get him up, get him out of bed, give him a sense of purpose.
The JVS Show.
Do you think we have got to, as a country, start taking this issue more seriously?
Every weekday morning on BBC Three Counties Radio.
I cannot believe... Stop showing me your very well-defined little butt, Kelly. Kelly just said, aren't all jeans skinny jeans?
No, I did not.
You did say that, mate. You said that. Did you say that or not?
In terms of female clothing,
they're all quite fitted at the moment.
Yes, most jeans
all
are
jeans
fitted for women.
All jeans are skinny jeans. Oh no, I'm wearing 501s, classic, and I'm going to get in the bath later on with these.
Oh, I did that once.
Shrink fit.
I used to do that.
Shrink fit.
It didn't work. I just ended up with wet, cold jeans.
Shrink wrapped. Shrink fit. Shrink wrapped. You decide.
Shrunken.
Shrunken. Tell me about it.
Cold.
No, not all jeans are skinny jeans, Kelly.
I know this.
But then why did you ask this?
I did not ask it.
You asked it. I heard you ask it.
I didn't ask it. No.
Yay!
No way.
What? So anyway, let me press this.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
A programme on BBC Two this evening. Blimey O'Reilly. A programme on BBC Two this evening reveals the tactics used by the so-called Islamic State to lure young British women to Syria. Britain's Jihadi Bride shows how women have travelled to the country, lured by a combination of slick marketing, social media and religious fervour. Well, one of the most infamous female jihadists is the so-called Black Widow Samantha Lewthwaite from Aylesbury, whose husband Jermaine Lindsay was one of the 7/7 bombers. Well, Nicknam Hussain from Aylesbury is the current chairman of the Independent Advisory Group at Thames Valley Police and knew Samantha Lewthwaite. Good morning, Nicknam.
Good morning, Mr. Reid.
What do you know about the techniques used to recruit young women?
Well, they're classic kind of brainwashing techniques, similar to what's used in the child sex exploitation techniques of kind of reassuring them, making them part of the gang, giving them reassurance as to that they have a place in society, but that society is their society, not kind of our Western society.
The child exploitation, they plied them with booze and drugs. That's not happening to these women travelling to Syria, is it?
No, of course not, of course not. But the kind of the booze and the gifts come afterwards on the child sex exploitation. But it's just it's brainwashing techniques to.
Because there's a lot, Nick. But there's a lot. There's one thing convincing somebody that their ideology is the right way, you know, and that what they're thinking is right and what the Western governments are thinking is wrong. But then getting them from that stage to then persuading them to actually go to Syria, how do they make that leap?
Well, that's the mystery. That's the what everybody $64,000 question, so to speak. Because what we're trying to find out, and what the police and intelligence services and the parents, don't forget, you know, you heard the parents yesterday who were distraught at Dewsbury at their teenage boys disappearing out of their houses and suddenly realising where they are. In Turkey, and maybe crossing over to Syria. And if you heard those parents on the news conferences, they were distraught. So that's what everyone's trying to find out. What is that last click that makes them get up, pack up something, and get on a plane over to Turkey?
You probably won't know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask you anyway, Nick. Then, what if a young woman going to Syria to become, you know, the slightly lazy term of jihadi bride, in inverted commas, what can they expect when they get there?
If you read the media, they can expect nothing. And also, there was a very telling documentary on German TV, which was shown on the internet. A German reporter who managed to smuggle himself in, and they basically, it's not what they think they're getting into, which is some sort of utopia of Islamic state with all Islamic rules. They are very oppressed. They are not allowed out. They're not allowed to be in public without another male. They have to wear very strict dress codes, much stricter even than Saudi Arabia, believe it or not. And some of them, the horror stories that you hear, you know, we can't obviously confirm, but, you know, being sold as sex slaves, as sex brides to, you know, you are told that is the man you're going to marry. You don't know them, you don't know who they are. Right. They could be anything from a Chechen to a Western jihadi to an Arab jihadi to a South Indian jihadi. You just don't know who it is. Yeah. You're told by the sheikh, that's the man you're going to marry.
How do we stop it happening? How do we stop these young people going?
It's a combination of things, and it's one of those kind of, if I knew the answer, I'd tell everybody and get it done. But the government's trying, the councils are trying, education, parents have got to keep an eye on what their kids are looking at to some degree. I'm not one of those parents who kind of keep a minute-to-minute, I'll be honest with you, a minute-to-minute notice on what my kids are doing, because I think that becomes oppressive, and then all they do is hide from you.
It's that balance, is it? As a responsible parent, it's that balance of kind of being aware of what they're... But, you know, 14, 15, 16-year-old kids, I vaguely remember it, they're brilliant at hiding stuff and saying one thing to their parents and going off and doing something else, aren't they? And also, I'd imagine, if they are slowly or quickly being convinced that the West is wrong, then they're not going to listen to what you say, because you work for the police. You know, you're connected to the police. They're not going to listen to me because I'm a white, middle-aged, you know, capitalist. It's difficult, isn't it?
It's worse than that, Ian, because blaming Western media and the press sometimes is always the mosques. They don't listen to the mosques either, because one of the things that's been drilled into them by that stage is the mosques are as worse as the West. They are puppets of the West. They're not true Islam. Don't listen to them. So it is really, really difficult. And I think also 15, 16, if you vaguely remember it, just like I vaguely remember it, you're a rebel. You're against everything anyway.
Yeah, of course.
It's the old cliche of that rebel without a cause. What are you against? You tell me something, I'm against it.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm against, but I'm against it.
Yeah, what have you got? What are you against? Or what have you got?
Nick, listen, I appreciate you coming on this time in the morning. We'll get you on again, because I'd love to talk longer. It's fascinating.
Anytime, Ian.
Thank you very much indeed. That's Nick Hussain from Aylesbury, the current chairman of the Independent of... Everyone's got such long titles. Advisory Group at Thames Valley Police.
Drove downtown in the rain, 9:30 on a Tuesday night, just to check out the late night record shop. Call it impulsive, call it compulsive, call it insane. But when I'm surrounded, I just can't stop. It's a matter of instinct, it's a matter of conditioning, a matter of fact. You can call me Pavlov's dog. Ring a bell and I'll salivate. How'd you like that? Dr. Landy, tell me you're not just a pedagogue. 'Cause right now I'm lying in bed, just like Brian Wilson did. Well, I'm lying in bed just like Brian Wilson did. So I'm lying here, just staring at the ceiling tiles, and I'm thinking about what I think about. Just listening and re-listening to Smiley Smile, and I'm wondering if this is some kind of creative drought, because I'm lying in bed just like Brian Wilson did. Well, I'm lying in bed just like Brian Wilson did. Whoa. And if you wanna find me, I'll be out in the sandbox, just wondering where the hell all the love is gone. I'm playing my guitar and building castles in the sun, whoa, 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 and singing fun, fun, fun. I'm lying in bed just like Brian Wilson did. Well, I'm lying in bed just like Brian Wilson did. Whoa. I had a dream that I was 300 pounds. No, I was very heavy. I floated till I couldn't see the ground. I floated till I couldn't see the ground. Whoa, somebody help me. I couldn't see the ground. Somebody help me. Couldn't see the ground. Somebody help me. Because I'm lying in bed just like Brian Wilson did. Well, I'm lying in bed just like Brian Wilson did.
No moon.
Travel news for beds, cards, and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Delays on the M25 anti-clockwise around junction 19 for Watford as it starts to get busier, but no reports of any problems elsewhere on the motorways. The A1M looks like it's moving fine at the moment on the cameras. In Bricketwood on the North Orbital Road, that's looking quite slow around the M25 junction 21A roundabout. And looking at the speed sensors in Milton Keynes, it's looking fine through the roadworks on Standing Way at the Kingston roundabout, but expect delays there later on when it starts to get busier. On the trains, there's no problems reported on the departure boards, but the Metropolitan line is suspended because of a signalling problem at Harrow on the Hill, so it's suspended from Amersham, Uxbridge and Watford to Wembley Park, and there's severe delays on the rest of the line. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Across beds, hearts, and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 6:30. I'm Simon Oxley. Researchers say the palliative care system in the UK needs a major overhaul to meet growing demand. The charity Marie Curie commissioned the report. Labour says everyone living permanently in Britain should pay tax on everything they earn, even if the money is earned overseas. The Conservatives have promised to introduce resits for pupils who get poor results in their SAT tests at the end of primary school. And passengers at London Luton Airport have been warned to expect disruption because of a strike by air traffic controllers in France. Luton-based EasyJet is cancelling nearly 120 flights today.
Three Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
2 goals in the opening 5 minutes from striker Will Grigg gave MK Dons a 2-0 win over Scunthorpe at Stadium MK. The win closes the gap to second-place Preston to 5 points, whilst Cole Robinson's side are themselves 5 points clear of fourth-place Swindon, who lost at Bristol City. The manager was delighted with Grigg's growing goals tally.
19 goals and probably about 15 miles covered. Incredible. I just think he's a tremendous example for any young fan. We're a club with a very young fan base. And I think if you're looking to become, well, not just footballers but anything in life, a work ethic should be part of your DNA, and he has that in abundance, and he showed everyone once again today that he works his socks off.
In the Premier League, a hat-trick from Christian Benteke gave Aston Villa a 3-3 draw at home to fellow strugglers QPR. Tonight, Liverpool travel to Blackburn for their FA Cup quarter-final replay. The winners will face Aston Villa in the Wembley semi-final. Watford have sold out their ticket allocation for their matches at Nottingham Forest and Brighton, while the final Championship game of the season at home to Sheffield Wednesday is close to selling out. Luton have cancelled the contract of defender Paul Connolly by mutual consent. Connolly signed last summer but has only made 6 appearances. And Wycombe boss Gareth Ainsworth has been shortlisted for the League 2 Manager of the Month award for March. It's the final day of practice for Rory McIlroy and company ahead of tomorrow's US Masters Golf. Ian Carter is in Augusta.
McIlroy's bid for a career Grand Slam will begin in the company of 3-times champion Phil Mickelson. The Northern Irishman plays his first 2 rounds with Mickelson and another American, Ryan Moore. They'll tee off at just after 20-4 UK time on Thursday. Tiger Woods waits until the penultimate grouping and plays alongside the Welshman Jamie Donaldson and the in-form American Jimmy Walker. Defending champion Bubba Watson is among the earlier starters on Thursday, and he'll be playing alongside Justin Rose.
BBC Three Counties News and Sport. The next full bulletin is at 7.
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
I don't know which microphone you're going to use today. It seems to be so random on the veranda. Thank you, Kelly Betts.
A 1 2 1 2.
Or this one.
Yo.
1 2 1
That one's off. Yo, we're wow. Yo, we're wow. I'm running down the freeway chasing on my ice cream. Yo, we're wow.
Wow.
Yo, we're wow. Marion's on the line. Good morning, Marion. How is Stevenage this morning?
Nice and bright. I've just seen the moon go.
What, blown up by the Russians?
No.
They wanted to once, didn't they?
Yes.
Who was it who wanted to blow the... Was it the Russians that wanted to blow the moon up?
Yes.
It was, wasn't it?
Yes.
When was that?
About 1960-something.
Oh, 1960-something. No, someone wanted to blow it up recently. I think it was the Americans who wanted to blow up the moon to show that they could.
Oh.
I'm sure that's a genuine... 08459 455 555. That was in, like, the last 5 years.
That would be quite annoying, wouldn't it?
No.
I like the moon.
The moon gets... It's so arrogant, isn't it? It gets right on my nerves.
No, it would cause all sorts of problems. But that isn't the problem I'm talking about.
Oh, go on then, Mary. What's the problem?
I do not like jeans.
Oh.
In fact, in all my lifetime, I've never worn a pair.
In the last 90 years, you've never worn a pair of jeans?
Yeah, look, something like that, yeah.
Yeah, what?
Because I think that they were made by the slave masters for the slaves in the sort of when they were, and so they didn't have to make them, buy trousers or anything for the youngsters. And then when they brought them in, they...
So hang on, you don't wear them because they used to be worn by slaves?
No.
What?
Then they were worn by workmen on the building sites and boat building and all the rest
So
of it.
you're a snob?
I think, honestly, they're just common.
I tell you what I don't like, Mariam. So you are a snob, basically. Yeah. What I don't like is the fact that jeans are now the default setting. And a number of times I'm sat in a meeting or in a room with other people, and you look around, and 9 out of 10 people have got jeans
And
on.
who's the 10th person? Me. I never wear jeans for work.
You wore them on Monday, you wore them on Friday.
Yeah,
so
because
that's
that was
not
on
true.
a bank
So that's not true.
holiday.
That's a lie.
Bank holiday.
That's a lie. You just said you never wore them for work. You were working on Friday and Monday, and you were wearing them. So that's a lie.
Why are you looking over there to play for the cheap seats?
I'm showing off to Kelly.
Everybody thinks they're individualists by wearing jeans, and that it's like the three politicians the other day. They all turned out in 3 jeans, a shirt.
4 jeans now, isn't it? It's
4
faster.
jeans. Exactly. So I mean, quite honestly, jeans are just, it's like young ladies wearing those leggings. God.
Well, I was going to ask you where you stand on leggings, because if jeans are common, then leggings must be downright filth.
No, well, if it's not a case of filth. It's just when you walk behind them, you see their asses moving up and down all the time, being polite. I mean to say, then they don't care what size they are. They
I tell you what I don't like, Marion, and you would think I would, but I don't. Some expensive now, is it leggings or leggings with a G at the end?
Leggings.
Without the G?
Without the G.
Yeah, you see, this is the division. I think it is leggings because you put your legs ins.
Well,
honestly, that is true.
It depends on whether they've got feet or not.
Who? The person wearing them?
No, the leggings. It's the ones
they're tights.
Well, they're tights and leggings without.
What?
If they're very thick, they
the people
have
wearing
feet in
them?
Yeah, exactly.
So what I don't like is some of these leggings. If you buy them on the market or you see horrible chavvy people wearing them, they're such poor quality. You can see through and you can see their knickers if they're wearing any.
They're basically footless tights. I think leggings are horrible, and I never wear them.
Good for you.
Horrible. But in the 80s, I was partial to a ski pant, so, not perfect.
Here's the thing, Mariam. Here's the fashion that I noticed at the weekend, and the fact that I noticed it means it's probably coming to an end. Young ladies, black jeans, ripped knees.
Yeah.
Oh, I lived through it the first time in the 80s. Oh, dearie. It's blooming awful.
Well,
you look like you've been on your knees doing what I wouldn't dare suggest. Playing with pipes like a plumber.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, that is why when
or
people
a wannabe actress. Yes.
When when people wore jeans, they could rip them up and it didn't matter.
Yeah.
But quite honestly, if they didn't, people wouldn't climb over fences, wouldn't do this, wouldn't do that, because they'd ruin their proper clothing.
Marion, you've given us a lot to chew on today, primarily denim, but thank you.
Have a nice day, dear.
Thank you, my darling. Ripped knees. Jason Donovan died for your sins. He got kicked out of Harrods once for having ripped jean knees. And now all the girls are doing it. You're probably doing it, aren't you, Kelly?
No.
Yeah, you see, all the girls are doing it because they think it's trendy. You just heard Kelly Betts there say that she's doing it.
You did it yesterday.
Those jeans, well, I was going to put them in the bin. That's why I bought these jeans.
Don't tell me you're going to make cut-offs.
Well, I'm going to make short shorts.
Oh.
I'm going to make short shorts. Look like this fella in this picture I've just retweeted. Now, it's time for a little bit of...
What's Miss Anglers?
What's Miss Annulis? Today... No, hang on, not What's Miss Annulis. That's the wrong thing. It's this.
Yeah! And today he's not let me read the papers.
You're not allowed to read the papers there because you cheated.
Well, no, I'd read the papers.
What? Cheated? That's where I come from.
It's called educating
Where
yourself.
I come from is cheating. Oh, look, that button's undone. Just a little bit of belly button there. Well, quite a bit of belly button.
I've never been more aroused.
Well...
Is that the word?
Okay.
No.
Okay, now, we have to change this jingle.
Sorry?
We have to share this jingle, but then you've got all like BBC on my ass this morning. Like BBC on my ass this morning.
Can we stop referring to that?
Sorry. What do you mean say my bum? They've got BBC on my bum.
Bottom.
I blame Marion. She opened the ass shop.
She did. Now, where is that shop? Because I need a new one. My one is broken. It turns out all the what happens is I read a headline and the team have to guess what the story is. This is a lot of fun. You can play at home, and the winner gets £1 million or a new car. That's the chair. That was the chair that time. But all of them come from the Sun, so I want to call it. Sponsored by the Sun. Oh, hang on a minute.
Serves you right.
Sponsored by the Sun. And you thought it was a great idea. Going to get Paul Scoins to voice it, 'cause he's got a dull voice.
Yeah.
He'll be asleep.
Since when has Kelly's say-so been the
since she
epitome
was
of BBC standards?
Mate, since she was the original producer of me on this show.
Was she?
Yes,
Yeah.
she was.
We had
why
great
is she-
fun, didn't
why
we?
is she
We
not
had
now?
fun.
Didn't get the job I went for.
Yeah, that's right.
why not?
She wasn't good enough. So, but you said we can't do that. We can't say. Sponsored by the Sun. My echo didn't work. You said we couldn't do it.
What was that?
Well, why can't we do it? Because we're BBC.
Because you're advertising a newspaper.
So we've come up with a compromise, haven't we, Kelly?
Yes.
Are you going to do it for me?
Yes.
OK, so this is what the feature's now called.
Sponsored by a newspaper beginning with the.
There we go.
Excellent.
OK, is that OK? We're OK with that?
Yeah, fine.
OK. Who's up for round one? You're not allowed to laugh at people that can't say their R's anymore. I think it's a blooming disgrace. Do you know what? Do you know what that is?
I think it's just gone politically correct.
It really, really has. OK, so we go to page 4 of the Sun. Page 4 of the Sun. A holy row. Don't look. You're looking.
I'm not looking.
You were totally looking. And
I'm not
lucky she's
looking.
blind as a bat. A holy row. Kelly, we're going to start with you. What do you think the story... Oh, no, sorry. I do it like this. A holy row. Kelly?
It's a man whose surname is Rao.
Oh.
And
I like a style.
he is in a church
And
and he falls off a pew, breaks his arm.
I'm going to stop you there because this could go on for ages and you are way, way off the track. So, Catherine, a holy row. It's annoying me.
I think you've misread that.
Okay.
Uncharacteristically.
Okay,
And it's
rude.
a holy row, and what it is a doily factory.
Oh,
Forgot to calibrate
doily.
the machinery right.
My nickname at school, yes.
And so the doilies all came out in like a sort of string, and so it was a holy row.
OK, incorrect. Both of you are incorrect. 0. Is it nil point? Nil point.
Oh.
Ian Harris, 51, says his religion allows him to wear a colander for his driving licence picture in Hove, East Sussex. And then it's in one of the other... Here it is. It's on page 27 of the Mail.
Is there a picture?
There's a picture in page 27.
Is he
and
doing the glum face?
He's a pastafarian.
A what?
He's a pastafarian.
Oh, my goodness.
A musician has accused the DVLA of religious discrimination. This is brilliant. After his driving licence photograph was rejected because he had a colander on his head. Ian Harris said he was insulted by the rejection and claimed the utensil was part of his beliefs. And there he is. Ladies and gentlemen, he's a pastafarian. I like that.
He's a plum.
Yeah, you could certainly say that.
Gosh.
Yeah. I tell you what.
He was a member of the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monsters.
Yep. Well, listen.
Crikey.
You're gonna, if you're going to believe in something, you might as well have a little bit of fun with it. We're having. Hang on. If you're going to believe in something, you might as well have a little bit of fun with it. And we're having so much fun that I'd like this game to continue, and I'd like you to join me, Catherine and Kelly, after the travel, news and the weather, and maybe we'll have Justin Dealey with us as we play more... If you want to take part on the phone and you're not Dennis, 08459... Or Peter. All those Muppets we've banned. 08459 455 555. And you could be playing...
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The M25 anti-clockwise is looking very busy between junction 21 for the M1 and 19 for Watford. And in Marlow Hill in High Wycombe, there's temporary traffic lights just before Marlow Road by the leisure centre, so that is likely to get busy later on. But it's not looking too bad on the speed sensors at the moment. There are some problems on the trains though. Greater Anglia have tweeted that there are major disruptions and cancellations through Bishop's Stortford. It's also affecting the Stansted Express, but Great Northern are saying customers can use their trains instead. The Metropolitan line has severe delays, and at Luton Airport there could be some problems for flights to and from France because of industrial action by their air traffic controllers. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Sammy. 6:45, Wednesday the 8th of April. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. Researchers say the palliative care system in the UK needs a major overhaul to meet growing demand. Labour says everyone living permanently in Britain should pay tax on everything they earn, even if the money is earned overseas. And in sport, Milton Keynes Don kept up their challenge for automatic promotion with last night's 2-0 win over Scunthorpe. Let's get the weather. Here's Kate.
Beds, Herts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Good morning. It's a chilly start for some, not quite as chilly as yesterday though. Just one or two places down at 1 Celsius. Up at Woburn, for example, it's down at 1 at the moment, so quite chilly up there. Elsewhere 5 or 6 Celsius. Bit of mist and fog, but that will lift. It's fairly light, so it's not going to last for too long. Now, a bright start for most this morning, some sunshine, and it's a repeat performance of yesterday. Lots of sunny spells. Temperatures could reach around 16, maybe 17 Celsius, so another warm afternoon across the board. Overnight tonight, clear spells, temperatures falling away again, so it could become quite chilly for some, particularly in the more rural locations. Mist and fog likely, minimum temperature down to 2 Celsius. A dry day for Thursday. Early mist and fog will clear, and then a nice warm afternoon. Maximum temperature tomorrow, again 17, maybe 18 Celsius in the sunshine. A similar day for Friday, then it begins to change just subtly overnight Friday into Saturday. Expecting a little bit of rain overnight, then through Saturday that will lift in the morning. Still fine and dry for daylight hours at the weekend, but the wind's coming from the west. It will be breezier and therefore the temperature just a little bit fresher. That's your forecast.
If you've missed any of the programmes here on BBC Three Counties Radio, you've missed things like this.
What can you see directly ahead of you? Is it a person or a wall, or what is it?
I can see my husband, which is not a great sight on this Saturday morning.
But there is a way you can hear it all again.
Leah said that your challenge is you've got to take a photograph of a male duck and a female duck.
It's Ladies' Day as we play 2 hours of the finest female artists of all time.
bbc.co.uk/Three Counties Radio.
Great start. Love that. Grant Tux playing live tonight on BBC, introducing In Beds, Hearts and Bucks.
Allowing you to listen to what you missed. bbc.co.uk/Three Counties Radio. Call 08459.
We know the numbers.
455
Hey, Dealer Dealy!
Hey, good morning to you, boss.
Why did you tweet a picture of your backside this morning, mate?
Well, because you were talking about skinny jeans. I think this could be your next award. You talking about fashion. Do you know what? You've had me smiling all morning, so I thought, you know what? I'm going to just send you a little photograph, just demonstrating.
I'm not going to win an award because you've taken a picture down the back of your trousers, showing the word skinny and the actual bum crack.
But you asked about skinny jeans. I'm wearing them this morning with pride and with passion.
Yeah, but you have got a pair that are too tight, haven't you?
Well, yeah, most of them are too tight.
And you sustained a bit of an injury at one point.
What happened, mate?
Well, I'm just saying that, for a couple of days it was, let's just say, a bit awkward.
Okay, let's just say that. Do you want to play a bit of?
I would love to.
Okay, well, they're going to go with. Okay, let's go to page 7 of The Sun. For those playing at home, page 7 of The Sun. Flyer Pud on alert. Flyer Pud on alert. Dealer Dilly, we'll start with you, brother.
Okay, I think that's... would that be about a pudding?
I can give no clues at this stage.
That's about a pudding. That's about a sticky toffee pudding, okay? That somebody has had in a restaurant. It's cost them a lot of money, and they've thought, no, I'm not having this, and they've thrown it across the restaurant.
Okay, I'm not gonna comment on that answer at the moment. I'm gonna go straight to Catherine Boyle, the oldest person on this team, by the way.
Apart from you. I'm going to say...
If she's not, then she needs to get a new face cream.
Wow. Gosh.
Oh? Listen, I speak of the truth. You don't lack of the truth, then you get out of the way.
Good accent.
Thank you, mate. It's Italian.
Yeah, it's good. I like it.
Part of the European Union.
Mamma mia.
Whoa. Spaghetti bolognese.
I think a pilot
Lasagna.
had a pancake-related incident in his cockpit.
Oh.
And
too soon?
No. Shrove Tuesday was quite recent.
Yeah, continue.
And with the jet lag and everything, maybe he thought it was Shrove Tuesday. There you go.
So, are you suggesting that he, a pilot, tossed in the cockpit?
Yeah.
And it splattered everywhere?
No, because he would have waited till it was a decent consistency, surely.
Kelly.
Hello.
I'm not going to give you any clues, but if you can somehow join these two stories together, you get Fly Pud on alert.
Okay. There's a man on a plane.
Already I'm regretting asking her.
Why? He's eating sticky toffee pud.
Yeah.
He's unhappy with it. He throws it across the plane. It's flying because he's throwing it, but also because the plane is flying.
It's going twice the speed.
It's twice.
Incorrect data. I'm going to read this. Flyer Pud on alert. A plane passenger was stopped by security who mistook his peas pudding for explosives.
Oh.
The 58-year-old was trying to board an EasyJet flight from Newcastle to Gatwick when he was pulled aside during a hand luggage check. Staff took out 6 £1.80 tubs of the pudding along with Greg's pies. The Geordie, who has not been named, said, "Why, one of the security guys said it had come up on scanner. He told me technically this could be classed as Semtex." But he added, "They let me keep it. It's hard to get down south."
Peas pudding. It's also hard to get in the 21st century.
Unless, of course, you're a child and you're asking Mum for something to take to the Harvest Festival, and she always manages to find a tin at the back of the cupboard. Great game, guys. We got time for one more go. Hang on a minute. What's on page 19 of the Mail? I put a star by it.
So it must have been really good or rude.
Has anybody nicked this game yet, by the way?
Scott Mills will be doing it next week.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Mills will be doing it.
Millsy.
Right. Okay, here's one. Candice Bergen. My dad left Puppet £7,000, but I got nothing. Boyley. Dealey.
I'm stumped on this one.
Candice Bergen. My dad left Puppet £7,000, but I got nothing.
7,000.
Would that be somebody who's died? Okay.
No.
No?
Well, hang on.
Candice Bergen's alive, isn't she?
Stop interfering with his brainwaves.
Has it got something to do with somebody dying and something in the will where somebody got nothing and a puppet, which was somewhere in the house, something to do with the family, got the cash?
He's spot on. I do not know how he worked that out. Candice Bergen has revealed her ventriloquist father left £7,000 to his dummy in his will, but absolutely nothing to her.
Not even a gotla gear?
Ventriloquists are rubbish, apart from that girl that I like that you don't like.
I think she's rubbish. Tom Conti's daughter.
Tom Conti's daughter. I like her.
I think she's awful.
I think she's good.
But you can see her mouth moving.
No, you can't, mate.
She
don't look at her mouth.
But she dazzles you with... I mean, and the puppets are cruddy as well. But apart from that, she's very good and talented.
OK, last one. Here we go. Great time. Great times. Fun times. Scissor Listers.
Oh, no.
Scissor Listers. Bets.
Sister Sisters, the band, had an accident.
Do you remember when they were a thing?
I used to
What stupid.
Sister Sisters, accident, end up at the Lister Hospital.
Incorrect. Catherine.
No
We're
odds.
running out of time here. We're running out of time. We are running out of time. Sorry, Catherine, you're out of time. Dealey, Scissor Listers.
Would that be a list of men waiting for an operation on a certain part of their body?
Oh, he's good. He's wrong, but I wish it were. No. Scissors used to cut the launch ribbon on the doomed World War I liner Lusitania, sunk in 1915, are up for auction, Justin. And now I say that because I know you collect historical scissors.
Very true, yes, very true.
Will you be having a cheeky bid?
Yeah, why not?
Dealey, stay there. We've got a mission for you after this.
Okay.
I've got you under my skin. I've got you deep in the heart of me, so deep in my heart that you're really a part of me. I've got you under my skin. I tried so not to give in. I've said to myself, this affair, it never will go so well. But why should I try to resist when, baby, I know damn well that I've got you under my skin. I'd sacrifice anything, come what might, for the sake of having you near, in spite of a warning voice comes in the night and repeats in my ear. Don't you know, you fool, you never can win. Use your mentality, wake up to reality. But each time I do, just the thought of you makes me stop before I begin, because I've got you under my skin.
I am going to retire because I'm not going to sit here all night reading emails.
Rabbits, chickens and ducks.
I would sacrifice anything, come what might, for the sake of having you near, in spite of a warning voice comes in the night and repeats how it yells in my ear. Don't you know, you fool, ain't no chance to win. Why not use your mentality? Get up, wake up to reality. And each time I do, just the thought of you makes me stop just before I begin, because I've got you under my skin, and I like you under my skin.
Yes, see, it's a nice song, isn't it, Just?
Love it.
Two possible things. You may want to take jeans, skinny jeans, the rip knee jeans. You may want to take that to the street, Just.
Okay, yep, no problem.
Page 13 of the Daily Mail. Have you got that one there, Catherine?
Got it.
I'm feeling naughty this morning.
Oh, gosh, careful.
Page 13, the boozy one. Put that to... here we go, flipping it.
Hang on, I'm there, I'm nearly there.
Well, you're not there then, mate.
I'm nearly there.
We ran out of time. We're late for... Right, oh, blimey, Just...
Yeah.
Everyone's got a memory. Oh, we're
Drinks
late.
we hate, never again. What's yours?
Millions of Britons admit to a particular drink they cannot bear because of once overindulging in a drunken episode.
Yes.
More than 1 in 9 people have an aversion to a specific tipple because they got boozed up on
Whiskey.
it. Whiskey for you.
Yep.
Catherine?
Red Bacardi Breezers.
Red Thunderbird for me. Kelly Betts?
Malibu.
There we go. We'll discuss more after this. Thank you, Just.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's busy on the M1 towards London around junction 9 for Redbourne, and the M25 anti-clockwise is very slow from junction 25 for Enfield to 24 for Potters Bar. It's also looking busy on the A1 southbound now from the Holiday Inn towards the Stirling Corner. On the trains, Greater Anglia tweeted that there's major delays and possible cancellations through Bishop Stortford because of a problem on the line, and on the London Underground, the Metropolitan line has a signalling problem at Harrow-on-the-Hill, which means there are severe delays. At Luton Airport, there could be some problems for flights to and from France because of industrial action. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Sammy. So, jeans, skinny jeans, what's your beef? And also, is there a drink you cannot drink anymore because you had an unpleasant night on it? 08459 455 555.
local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 7 o'clock. I'm Simon Oxley. The headlines report says palliative care system needs major overhaul. SNP leader would back Labour, and MK Dons maintain promotion challenge.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Researchers say the palliative care system in the UK needs a major overhaul to meet growing demand. The charity Marie Curie commissioned the report. In Bedfordshire, ambulance crews receive extra specialist training, which aims to allow more people to remain at home rather than face a trip to hospital. Clive Goodson is from the East of England Ambulance Service.
Using our ambulance crews, the people registered the scheme has gone up because our crews are now referring people straight to the scheme. So it doesn't matter if you've got cancer or any illness. We want people to get the best palliative care possible, which we believe this scheme is doing.
Labour says everyone living permanently in Britain should pay tax on everything they earn, even if the money is earned overseas. Ed Miliband says if he's elected, he would do away with the tax status enjoyed by non-domiciles. Elsewhere, the Conservatives have promised to introduce resits for pupils who get poor results in their SAT tests at the end of primary school. And the SNP leader has offered to help Ed Miliband become Prime Minister. Nicola Sturgeon was speaking in a TV debate last night between party leaders in Scotland.
The polls say people don't want a majority Labour government because they know the last majority Labour government didn't deliver. I don't want David Cameron to be Prime Minister. I'm offering to help make Ed Miliband Prime Minister.
Passengers at London Luton Airport have been warned to expect disruption because of a strike by air traffic controllers in France. Luton-based EasyJet is cancelling nearly 120 flights today. A white police officer in South Carolina has been charged with murdering a black man who appeared to be running away from him. A video shot by a witness in the city of Charleston prompted the authorities to take action. People living on a mobile home park in Hertfordshire say they're fed up with still not being able to get problems on the site resolved. The residents of Newlands Park near Abbots Langley say it's been over a year since the bases of some of the homes were reported as cracked to the owners. More from Tony Fisher.
The residents also want action over possible water leaks, access to bills and a way of communicating with the owners which isn't via their lawyers. They add trees are not maintained and are dangerously overhanging some of the homes. BBC Three Counties has been unable to speak to the owners via their lawyers, and Three Rivers District Council says the lack of communication is not within the remit of the licence and therefore they can't comment.
In sport, 2 goals in the opening 5 minutes from striker Will Grigg gave MK Dons a 2-0 win over Scunthorpe at Stadium MK. The win leaves Carl Robinson's side 5 points behind second place Preston in the race for automatic promotion.
Every time we play, first thing, Preston. And I'm not going to hide that from anybody. It's true. All we care about is we're focused on Preston.
The weather, another dry and warm day with plenty of sunshine, a maximum temperature 17 degrees Celsius. And you can get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/3 counties.
Thank you, Simon. Morning, Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. Busy line. Is there a drink you cannot touch because you had a thoroughly unpleasant experience on it? We'll go into detail in that a little bit more. The great jean debate. We spoke to, who was it who never worn jeans? I've forgotten.
Marion in Stevenage.
Marion in Stevenage has never worn jeans in all her 60 years of existence. She's a snob. She's a snob. I did try a few years ago to stop wearing jeans because it's lazy. Jeans are lazy. Wear trousers instead. It's lazy, but it's just so convenient, isn't it? And what's this thing with the fashion now is girls in skinny black jeans with the knees cut away. Ridiculous. 08459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Boiling.
It's not as if knees are an erogenous zone. They're just a nobble.
I don't like knees. It is a nobble. And I mean...
It is just a nobble.
What are you going to do with a knee? Really? You're not going to kiss it or lick it. I mean, you're just going to avoid that. You're working from toe to top. You just skip that bit. You don't even touch. You just jump over that bit.
Yeah.
It's a bend in the road. isn't it? On the road to pleasure. It's a bend that I don't need to take. That's not bad, actually. A bit of work. That could be quite a good line when I write my sex guide.
Yeah. Avoid the knee. It's just a bend in the road.
On the road, it's just a bend in the road on the way to pleasure.
Yeah.
Pleasureville.
Yeah.
How's your sex guide coming along?
It's well, like my sex, non-existent. 08459 455 555. I'm really looking forward to Catherine's excuse for not having the text machine open.
I've got them open, but we haven't got any.
I don't believe that. How can we do an hour and 5 minutes of broadcast? And let's be honest, guys, excellent broadcast.
Well, we've got...
And not have any texters?
We've got one, right?
Well, then read it to me.
But they're from, Shirley, who always...
Good morning, Shirley.
And I don't know what it means.
Well, read it. Maybe you'll just think...
Good morning, Iain. It's your girl, ha-ha.
Oh, yeah, because yesterday...
Shirl's my girl.
Shirl's my girl.
Yeah.
See, that means something.
Okay.
Thank you, Kelly.
Colin.
So we got another text.
No, well,
you've been caught out as a right little liar, pants on fire.
No, I wasn't.
Except you don't wear pants.
I didn't think it was reading out because it's poning you, but if you insist.
Oh, I'll take it. And I'll...
Catherine Boyle show. Your sidekick is coming along well, from Colin.
Thank you, Colin.
I think he's being mean.
I think he's being sarcastic, mate, about you. So, ponership of you. One Catherine Boyle to go. She's gone. Who? Bants.
Thanks for the text, guys. You've really lifted my morning.
You're welcome. 08459 455 555 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. Now, the UK's palliative care system needs a major overhaul. That's according to a report commissioned by the charity. Now, how would you... I would say Mary Curie.
Marie Curie.
Marie Curie.
Mm-hmm.
OK. It says there are widespread inequalities in end-of-life care, suggesting that those with non-cancer conditions are receiving considerably less attention than those with cancer. Well, someone who knows all about this is a regular contributor to the show. It's Matt from Luton. Morning, Matt.
Morning.
Now, for those who don't listen perhaps as regularly as you do, you looked after your wife Margaret, didn't you, before she passed away?
Yeah, 6 years.
6 years. And she had dementia, is that right?
Yes, but she had it started off very, very slight dementia. We didn't realise, we thought it was something else, but she got worse and worse and worse. But you see, you're on about palliative care. You can only have palliative care if the person's got cancer or a disease. With dementia, they can walk up and get out of the house, and there's all different forms of dementia. So you can have palliative care. In the end, she had to go in the home, Iain, because I couldn't handle her. She kept falling over. And I was lucky she never broke out of the house or anything like that. But palliative care is okay for people with cancer or heart trouble because they're in the same position at all times. They're at home. And it's nice to be in your own home. And they do know what they can see what they're saying. They realize that they got the family around them. But with dementia, you don't know nothing. There is nothing there, Iain. It's dead cells. And sometimes they come to life with little things happen and, she remembers. And then the rest of it is just being there and make sure that she's safe and happy, that's all.
How much support did you get, Matt?
Oh, I got terrific support. I was so lucky. I was very lucky. It took me a while to get proper carers, decent carers, but I had one specific carer who was brilliant. They were marvellous. Westminster Care. I can't speak enough about it.
Now, towards the end, Matt, when she was very poorly, and she was bedridden towards the end, wasn't she?
All the time, yeah.
What kind of care was she given in the last, sort of couple of weeks of her life?
But she was in the home then, you see.
Yeah.
Like your mum now.
Yeah.
She was in the home, and the home, I couldn't speak enough for the home. They'd done everything. She was on they took her to the toilet, but then eventually she couldn't go to the toilet, so she had to have a catheter and all that sort of thing. But they were very, and what I liked about the home where Margaret was, they were very respectful. That's very important. Dignity. It's not only the dignity of the patient, it's the dignity of the family. The family means the world, if they see that I'd go in, and if there was little things that wasn't done right, and I would pick these up. And also I learned this off of my main carer. She could tell Margaret when Margaret was sitting uncomfortable, and she trained me how to look after her. So I passed it on to the home. People don't speak enough. They go in and they'll condemn the homes. But everybody's great at pointing the finger in, as you know yourself. But go in and talk to the home, and talk to the girls in the home, and explain to them how Margaret sits, and when she likes to sit up, she likes to do this, she likes to do that. It's a simple thing, really, looking after somebody, isn't it?
Do you speak to her every day, Matt?
Yeah,
of course you do.
Yeah. Well, we have a lot of. I have a lot of music in my life, Ian, as you know.
Yeah.
And there's lots of songs that she used to love. And when I put the Spotfire on, of course, I used to say to her in the mornings, as Kelly knows, Kelly's been to see Margaret a good few years ago, but we'd ask her what type of music. I'd say, what do you want to hear today? Oh, she said, I'd like to hear Steve Earle, or she'd like to hear...
So she had a good taste in music, Matt, unlike you, who's got an absolutely rotten taste.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Matt, listen, it's always good to talk to you, mate, and I appreciate you sharing your stories of Margaret. I never tire of hearing them, so thank you very much indeed. I want to bring in Helen Findlay, whose parents both experienced poor health at the end of their lives. Helen, you've been campaigning for better palliative care, haven't you? Let's talk about your parents. What happened to them?
Yeah. Well, basically, my mother was diagnosed with dementia after a stroke, and my father and mother used to live together. And he took care of her for a number of years, and then he started falling ill himself, and it took quite a while to discover what it was he was suffering from. But he was then diagnosed with motor neurone disease, and then he was given the diagnosis and told, well, you have, just quite boldly, you have about 3 or 5 years left to live, Mr. Findlay. And with that, we thought, well, lots of care then would come in, particular care, because he's been given a life-limiting illness diagnosis. But in fact, nothing did. And unfortunately, from the diagnosis until my father died was just over 7 weeks.
Oh, gosh.
And that there's myself and my family. I've got 3 siblings. We were just desperately running around trying to do what we could with my mother, who didn't really understand what was going on, of course. We had to care for her, and she kept falling at home. And try as hard as we couldn't get care for both of them at home so that they could be together, because they'd been married for 62 years. And they were apart because my mother had to go into hospital because she'd suffered another fall. And my father was at home, so we were like doing relays to his home, and I live quite a distance away. But fortunately, 2 of my older siblings live nearer. But while we were doing that, we were also trying to sort out arrangements to get proper bed for him and proper facilities for her, and we just couldn't do it.
What help was offered to you, Helen?
Well, there wasn't a lot offered. There was a lot promised, but it never materialised. So if I knew then what I know now, I'd have known to have been pushing for palliative care for my father, which he should really have had right from the point of diagnosis with a condition like motor neurone disease. Because as it progressed, and it was very quick, as you can imagine, over 7 weeks, he began to lose the use of his arms, so he couldn't write or do anything. He lost his voice about a month before he died, because the disease takes your voice. So he could barely move, he couldn't talk, so it was very difficult for him to communicate. So we were having to be his in-between, if you like, and communicate for him. But nobody was, the health professionals were not really taking much notice of us. I don't know why, because we were the people who were there on the ground, who were desperately trying to care for him and my mother. And everything was so slow. There was no joined up. There was no communication between health and social care. And my mother had a social care manager, which had been assigned to her some time before, and she was trying to help as well because she knew my father too. She found it extremely difficult to get things moving in terms of the kind of care he should have at home and the kind of care my mother should have at home. But eventually, with my father's agreement, they went into a nursing home just really for respite, and so they could be together.
Oh, so they got a place in a nursing home together? Because that's quite unusual, isn't it?
I know. We were very, very lucky.
Yeah.
It was only a mile from where they lived.
Oh, that's brilliant.
But the nursing home said they could look after someone with MND, but actually they just weren't up to it, frankly. And 2 weeks later, my father was taken into hospital for a peg feed because he couldn't swallow either. That's another symptom of motor neurone disease. So he was wasting away. He couldn't speak. His hearing was poor. So anyone trying to communicate with him was, not going to do it very successfully unless they took time or we were there.
Helen, listen, I'm really sorry. We're running out of time.
Oh, right.
No, not at all. I feel really rude kind of cutting in, and I appreciate you sharing this with us. In 30 seconds, if you could, what do you think needs to change?
I think, as your previous caller said, communication, and it's communication between everybody, and also to recognise that if there's a family who's caring for someone, or if it's significant others caring for someone, it could be a good friend, then they need to be involved and be part of the team that is caring for the person and should be recognised as such, particularly for someone who has dementia, and particularly if that person with dementia is in a hospital. But wherever they may be, that you're not just a visitor, you're not just a bystander, you're actually heavily involved. So the communication between health and social care is important, and coordinating what they're doing. So you're looking at a whole person and their whole family situation, their whole life.
Helen, I'm really sorry that I had to cut in there, and I really appreciate you sharing your stories with us. Thank you very much indeed. That was Helen Finlay. Before that was Matt in Luton. Let's get the travel.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
There are delays on the M1 towards London through junction 10 for Luton Airport, and the M25 anti-clockwise is looking busy between junction 17 for Maple Cross and 15 for the M4. In Watford on the A1 southbound through Mill Hill from the Apex corner towards Mill Hill Circus, that's looking very slow southbound. And on the trains, Abellio Greater Anglia still have hour-long delays through Bishop's Stortford. That's because of an incident earlier, and the Metropolitan line has severe delays. At Luton Airport, there are some problems to flights to and from France because of industrial action. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Sammy. 7:18 or thereabouts. It's Wednesday, the 8th of April. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. Researchers say the palliative care system in the UK needs a major overhaul to meet growing demand. Labour says everyone living permanently in Britain should pay tax on everything they earn, even if the money is earned overseas. And in sport, Milton Keynes Dons kept up their challenge for automatic promotion with last night's 2-0 win over Scunthorpe.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
I'm being swallowed by a boa constrictor. I'm being swallowed by a boa constrictor. I'm being swallowed by a boa constrictor, and I don't like it very much. Oh no, he swallowed my toe, he swallowed my toe. Oh gee, he's up to my knee, he's up to my knee. Oh fiddle, he's reached my middle, he's reached my middle. Oh heck, he's up to my neck, he's up to my neck. Oh dread, he swallowed my...
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
A programme on BBC Two this evening reveals the tactics used by the so-called Islamic State to lure young British women to Syria. Britain's Jihadi Brides shows how women have travelled to the country, lured by a combination of slick marketing, social media and religious fervour. In February, a workshop was held in Luton aimed at women, urging them to make a stand against ISIS and directly combat extremism and radicalisation in their communities. Well, Kalsum Bashir is co-director of Inspire, the organisation behind the workshop. Good morning, Kalsum.
Good morning.
How did the workshop go?
Really well. I mean, in fact, right across the country, we've had hundreds of women coming along and taking part. And the workshops came about out of a demand from women themselves, saying they wanted to be at the forefront of challenging extremism and needed spaces to be able to talk very openly about their fears and learn more about what they could do themselves to protect their children.
So what kind of things did the women who came to this, what kind of things did they bring to it then? What sort of issues did they have?
I think really just that they wanted awareness of what was happening. This was something that they were seeing on the news, like most of us, but unlike others, they came with the realisation that it was their children that were being targeted, and they were very, very fearful, really, that this can happen amongst our communities. I live in Bristol, and a 15-year-old disappeared from Bristol, and up to then it had been something that perhaps mothers had thought is not going to happen to us. It just happens to other people, but the growing number of young people leaving brings it home that actually this is something. I mean, you know, we don't think perhaps children are going to be targeted by paedophiles or strangers out on the street, but we still talk to our children about stranger danger and the dangers of talking to people that we don't know. And now mothers realise that actually these are the conversations that we need to be having. And what they really wanted to know was the process of grooming, how it works, what tactics ISIS are using, and what we can do as mothers to build resilience within the home.
Kalsum, what is what are the techniques that they're using? Because I do struggle to understand how intelligent young people could kind of jack it all in and try and get to Syria to go and join, you know, a bunch of murdering thugs.
It's a combination of very complex layers, but whatever, like groomers on the internet, you know, they hook on to whatever vulnerabilities there may be in that young person, whether it's they're struggling with their identity, whether there are sort of certain demands being made of them, cultural demands, which are at odds with the demands being made with them outside the home as well. But underpinning all that, of course, is a very, very corrupt and perverse interpretation of religion. And religion can have a very, very powerful effect on young, vulnerable minds, particularly a very corrupt version. So it's about understanding how ISIS corrupts religion and building that resilience with mothers, showing them the counter-narrative, showing what sort of conversations they can be having at home to sow the seeds of doubt within their children's mind before they even come to see that you know, media marketing online, so that children can dismiss it.
Of course, young people have always kind of rebelled against their parents and taken, you know, if your mum and dad vote Tory, there's a strong chance you'll vote Labour. You know, to break it down to a very simplistic term, mums and dads speaking to their kids, it doesn't always have a positive effect, does it?
No, that's why what we're saying is, you know, start having those conversations early. Talk about what you're seeing on the news, round the kitchen table, and start asking open-end questions. Start talking about the counter-theological narrative. But then also, you know, make sure that your children are involved in activities outside of school with peers. You know, it's about extracurricular activities and things, which, you know, a lot of Muslim parents perhaps don't encourage their children to be part of. They're up much, but start doing that. And then if you have any concerns at all, make sure that you've got that network outside, starting with your school, starting with your teachers, asking them for advice and guidance, so that we can divert children away from that by keeping them busy and engaged in other ways.
Kalsum, I really appreciate your time. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much. Kalsum Bashir, co-director of Inspire.
across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
One of the most terrifying things I've ever seen in the newspaper, page 7 of the... You all right?
Yeah?
What's that noise?
I'm printing some stuff off.
What are you printing?
Never you mind.
Oh. One of the most terrifying pictures. I'm going to actually tweet it at Iain Lee if you want to see it. And it really is... it's just...
Is it some dental work?
Yeah, it's absolutely hideous. It's Tony Blair's teeth. Tony Blair came out and gave a speech in support of Ed Miliband. People are arguing whether that's going to be good or bad. I couldn't care either way, to be honest. But the state of that man's teeth. He's one of the richest men in this country, and he can't afford decent teeth. What's going on at the bottom? He looks like an old heroin addict with those teeth.
Is he missing one at the bottom?
He's missing one at the bottom. It's awful.
They're not that bad.
Oh, sorry?
All right.
You're having a laugh. Would you kiss that?
No, of course I wouldn't. Oh, that's fine. You're going on like it was all gum and one...
It's all gum
tooth.
and, no bum. I mean, it's awful. I bet we've had a rush of texts since the last time we came to you for texts, Catherine.
Guess again.
OK, I guess we have had a rush of texts.
All right, here's your rush.
81333, start your text 3CR.
Here's your rush from John.
Morning, John.
Strongbow Draft Cider, Brunel Unibar 1969.
Hey, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. Because that kicks off the conversation again. Thank you very much indeed. We didn't get to do this story
and
properly.
This one.
Yeah.
Selena. Good morning, Iain.
Good morning, Selena.
Now I know why you are Grandpy every day.
I'm not an American grandfather.
Dress like one.
I mean, if you want me to read them all out, I'll read them all out.
Never again. The drinks we hate. Millions of Britons admit to a particular drink they cannot bear because of once overindulging in a drunken episode. For me, Thunderbird, which is a horrible drink anyway. American wine. I remember I drank Thunderbird in Salt Hill Park in Slough with some mates, and I was like, whoa, I was 15 or 16. I mean, I was 18... 15 or 16, 15, 16. And I remember coming home and saying to my mum, I found the most amazing drink.
You told your mum that?
Told my mum about that.
I used to be instantly sober as soon as I saw my parents and then beat a retreat quickly up the stairs.
Well, then a week later I went to Adele's birthday party and Kerry was going to be there, and I was madly in love with Kerry. She's the girl I went vegetarian for. Took a bottle of Thunderbird. I downed this bottle of Thunderbird.
Impressive and romantic.
Right. And then I ran off and bought a bottle of vodka, 16, and I downed that. And then I had my first ever alcoholic blackout. And I don't remember anything. I woke up, I had a chipped tooth. And that was apparently because my friends didn't believe I was drunk. I was going, I'll prove I'm drunk. Jump on my head. Jump on my head. And they being mates, of course, did. But I don't remember any of this. All I remember is seeing Kerry and then nothing. The next thing I remember is waking up, puking into the toilet, and my mum saying, "You are never leaving this house ever again." Then the next thing I remember is waking up in bed, covered in sick and feeling absolutely awful. Absolutely awful. And I've had bits of the evening recounted to me. Boy, oh boy, did I...
Disgrace yourself?
I let myself down. Yeah, I let myself down. More than 1 in 9 people have an aversion to a tipple such as gin or scotch, and 52% said they had drinking rules which governed their alcohol habits, according to a study by...
Booze.com.
Ask Jeeves.
Oh, there they are.
These included eccentricities. Oh, OK, we can do this. We'll get your drinks after the break, after the news. But, dear listener, your drinks you can't drink and your drinking rules. These are some of the drinking rules. These included eccentricities such as only drinking out of a certain glass in a pub and only drinking some drinks, such as Baileys, at Christmas. Most common were abstaining on a school night, only drinking after a certain time, wine o'clock, not drinking at lunchtime, and only spending a certain amount on a supermarket wine. 08459 455 555. Your drinks you cannot touch, please, and your drinking rules.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's busy on the M25 anti-clockwise between junction 17 for Maple Cross and 15 for the M4. Also, the M1 towards London's looking very slow through junction 10 for the Luton Airport Spur Road, and the A1 southbound's very busy now from the St Neots junction to the Black Cat roundabout. In Baldock on North Road into Baldock, that's looking very slow between Norton Mill Lane and Whitehorse Street. And on the trains, Belly of Greater Anglia have hour-long delays through Bishop Stortford, and the Metropolitan line has severe delays because of a signalling problem at Harrow-on-the-Hill. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 7:30. I'm Simon Oxley. Researchers say the palliative care system in the UK needs a major overhaul to meet growing demand. The charity Marie Curie commissioned the report. Labour is pledging to abolish the non-domicile rule, which allows some wealthy individuals to limit the tax paid on earnings outside the UK. And passengers at London Luton Airport have been warned to expect disruption because of a strike by air traffic controllers in France.
Three Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
2 goals in the opening 5 minutes from striker Will Grigg gave MK Dons a 2-0 win over Scunthorpe at Stadium MK last night.
Baker inside the area. Rob Hall, great feet from Hall. Oh, what a great start from Rob Hall. It's an early goal, and that all came from Baker and the debutant Rob Hall. It was Will Grigg who put it into the back of the net. Crothers through to Ali. Ali onside. Does he go down? He looks for it, and it's a penalty to MK Dons. Will Grigg, right footed, and it's in the back of the net. Incredible start here at Stadium MK.
The win closes the gap to second place Preston to 5 points, whilst Carl Robinson's side are themselves 5 points clear of fourth place Swindon, who lost at Bristol City.
We knew they would be the fresher team going into this. We knew they had more energy than us because of the rest that they had. And we just felt that we had to put the game to bed really early on.
It worked.
It doesn't always work.
In the Premier League, a hat-trick from Christian Benteke gave Aston Villa a 3-3 draw at home to fellow strugglers QPR. Tonight, Liverpool travel to Blackburn for their FA Cup quarter-final replay. The winners will face Aston Villa in the Wembley semi-final. Watford have sold out their ticket allocation for their matches at Nottingham Forest and Brighton, while the final Championship game of the season at home to Sheffield Wednesday is close to selling out. Luton have cancelled the contract of defender Paul Connolly by mutual consent. Connolly signed last summer but has only made 6 appearances. And Wycombe boss Gareth Ainsworth has been shortlisted for the League Two Manager of the Month award for March. It's the final day of practice today for Rory McIlroy and company ahead of tomorrow's US Masters Golf. Ian Carter is at Augusta.
McIlroy's bid for a career Grand Slam will begin in the company of 3-times champion Phil Mickelson. The Northern Irishman plays his first 2 rounds with Mickelson and another American, Ryan Moore. They'll tee off at just after 20-4 UK time on Thursday. Tiger Woods waits until the penultimate grouping and plays alongside the Welshman Jamie Donaldson and the in-form American Jimmy Walker. Defending champion Bubba Watson is among the earlier starters on Thursday, and he'll be playing alongside Justin Rose.
BBC Three Counties News and Sport. The next full bulletin is at 8.
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Couldn't wait to get rid of him. He hadn't even finished. Off. Get out, Oxley. Do apologise, Simon. How rude of me. How rude of me. So what's the drink that you can't drink and
there
why?
There are loads.
Tell me the story about you and your pants.
Well, my student accommodation in my 4th year.
4 years? What were you studying that took 4 years?
French and Spanish year out, innit?
Oh, flipping it.
So, 4th year, should have known better.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, no. By then I was about up to tournament standard drinking. And, red Bacardi Breezer, one of those particularly sweet drinks with a vivid red colour. So I'm in the front bedroom, which was mine, and it used to be the old living room. It's got a massive kind of shop window scenario. It's a Victorian terrace. Really damp. I was always ill in that bedroom. This time I was ill out of the window. And how did I get to the window? Well, only the top part of the window opened. At the time I was wearing my undergarments.
Wowzers.
Sorry, neighbours. Don't think there was even a net curtain. Anyway, so I ended up out the top and was ill.
So it was all down the window, basically?
No, I managed to miss it. It was quite a bit of force behind it.
Yeah, gosh.
I forgot about it. Next morning, what are the pigeons eating?
Flippin' heck. Do not feed the birds. Tuppence a bag.
They weren't flying straight.
Oi, oi, oi. Your boozy drink that you cannot drink anymore, please. 81333, start your text 3CR. You can give us a call. 08459 455 555. What you got in the papers?
Cliff Richard looking sad. I don't know why he's looking sad.
Isn't it?
He's in Barbados. Oh,
Justin's met Cliff Richard in Barbados.
Yeah. Maybe that's why he's looking glum. Going on a summer holiday was once a prospect that thrilled Cliff Richard. No, he was paid to do that face in summer holiday.
Yeah.
But on this occasion, the singer didn't appear to be enjoying his sunshine break. Oh, it's just a picture of a man on his holidays.
Well, the thing is, we know that there are, okay,
storm clouds.
There are storm clouds are gathering. There may be nothing, there may be something we don't know. Let's watch and see how that progresses. But also, it's a bloke, it's an old man in an airport. When have you ever seen a happy old man in an airport?
The only time you see celebrities having a great time on holiday is when they're coming out of the surf, as if unaware that there's a cameraman there zooming in on their amazing beach body.
I told you I got Al Jardine at LAX airport. Al Jardine, the rhythm guitarist from the Beach Boys. Huge Beach Boy fan, and I saw him. I'd never seen a Beach Boy in real life at this stage in my life. I've never been close one. And I was so nervous. I thought, I've got to go and just say something. I'm not going to go for the selfie. I'm not going to go for even... Well, I was thinking about it all. I had a pen ready. And I built up this... Okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And I kind of followed him and I went, excuse me, Mr. Jardine. Like, anybody's going to know his name, Mr. Jardine. And he didn't know... I was behind him. He didn't know I could see his face. And he went... Yeah, what do you want? And I was crushed. In that moment, I was crushed, and I just went, thanks for the music.
Oh.
Thanks for the music. Can you believe that? Al Jardine. Who? Al Jardine'd me. If a celebrity ever treats you badly, it's being Al Jardine. Here's something.
Go on.
The script to the film American Pie, Justin.
Yeah.
Has sold for £800,000.
I was talking to my parents about this last night. Who on earth would pay £800,000 for a piece of paper?
It's the script to American Pie, which
so
is not
what?
that bad. It's an all right film.
It was all right. I don't think they needed to do that many more.
No.
It's not the film, I do apologise. It's the lyrics to the song. I got it wrong.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
The original lyrics to one of pop's most boring songs.
Well, it's not boring, come on.
It is.
It's a classic.
And it's been very useful to a lot of DJs who've needed to nip out for a toilet break.
Or a fag, Justin.
Yes.
It is boring. That and Vincent.
Starry, starry
night. Paint your picture, boring song.
MacArthur's Park.
That's a good song, dude.
Yeah,
long one as well, yeah.
What was that cake, though?
It was a metaphor for life.
Oh, was it?
The original lyrics to one of pop's most boring songs were sold at auction yesterday for £800,000. That's amazing. £800,000.
I don't get it. I still don't get why somebody would pay that amount of money for a piece of paper. Just go to your collection, put it on, listen to it, enjoy it, job done.
Don McLean, right, not the Christian broadcaster from this country, he's present Pebble Mill and Welcome Radio 2, the American singer-songwriter. Listen to the bullshine excuse he's come up with for selling this, right? Don McLean had the 16 pages of handwritten notes and typed drafts for his 1971 masterpiece, American Pie, in a box at his home. He said he was selling them to inspire young songwriters to think about every word in a song.
Yeah,
you
right.
weren't. You were selling it for $1.2 million.
Yeah, for the cash. Cash is king.
Flippin' heck. They reveal a lost verse, which they've printed here, and is rubbish.
It's not a lost verse. It wasn't good enough.
And there I stood, alone and afraid. I dropped to my knees, and there I prayed. Oh, good rhyme, mate. And I promised him anything I could give, if only he would make the music live. And he promised it would live once more, but this time 1 would equal 4. It's about the Beatles.
Oh.
And in 5 years 4 had come to mourn, and the music was reborn. And we were singing, bye bye Miss American Pie. I drove the Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. Them good old boys was drinking whiskey and rye, singing, this'll be the day that I die. This'll be the day that I die.
And give lots of money to my family in my will.
There we go.
£800,000.
What a
crazy!
Rip-off. What a rip-off. What have you been ripped off buying? 08459 455 555. Oh, by the way, we're still doing kids' science today. Kids' science. What science? Did you do any science experiments at home as a youngster?
No.
You never made, like, stink bombs and stuff?
I set fire to a few things when I was younger.
Kids' science. What did you set fire to and why?
It was a bush, and I got caught, and I never did it again.
What was I thinking?
Yes.
Why did you do it?
I don't know. I was just experimenting, as kids do, but kids don't do that.
No, but... No, I had an email from Tony, who started this whole thing off yesterday.
Yeah, with the magnet in his stomach.
His sister made him swallow a magnet to see if a spoon would stick to his stomach. That is genius. He sent me basically an essay. He's done lots of experiments.
Oh.
He doesn't list the microwave, the light bulb in a glass of water in a microwave. I'm not saying do it.
Oh, gosh.
I'm not saying do it. He's done loads of experiments, and most of them involved fire. See how long it takes for bread to set on fire in the toaster.
Has this guy got house insurance by any chance?
Is he writing to us from some sort of secure environment?
See if you can put out a fire with a jet of water from a fairy liquid bottle. If that doesn't work, all pee into the fire. See what the hardest fruit or vegetable is by playing cricket with it.
I would play that game. To be fair.
We did drop biscuits out of windows, didn't we? At one point, that was a big thing here.
Yeah.
To see which ones were the hardest. You won't be surprised to know that the ginger nut fared very well.
See how many Monster Munch you can put into your mouth without breaking one. Put ping pong balls into a vacuum pipe and put it on blow. This makes a good machine gun. Kids' science. 08459 455 555. You got a story, Catherine? Then we'll do booze.
Swearagans.
Oh.
Swearagans.
Why are you doing that when Justin's on the line?
What's the most arrogant of birds, Justin?
The most arrogant birds?
Begins with a swear. Begins with a swear.
To be quite honest, I've got no problem with birds.
Hang on.
Swans.
It's a peacock.
That, my friends, is the sound of a peacock.
That is literal arrogance.
No, peacocks are not arrogant because they're also very friendly creatures,
Mate.
and they respect you. They respect you as human beings.
They're constantly showing their tails.
Yeah, because they're beautiful, but they do it in a nice way. It's not kind of, hey, look at me, guys, I'm this, I'm that, you know.
Do you know what it is? It's a go on, have a look at that.
Yeah.
Get a load of that.
Yeah.
It's like Justin.
You like this?
You like?
Go on, swans.
His granddad was so vicious that he became known as Mr. Asbo and had to be moved away from the river where he was attacking rowers.
Yep.
His dad, Mr. Asboy, was renowned for snapping at swimmers and even tried to take on a cow. Now a third generation of the same swan family has been terrorising those who venture onto the River Cam in Cambridge. As Baby...
As Baby, that is good!
Still bearing his signet plumage, but has been seen pecking punters, pinching their food and even trying to take handbags. Some say he's even more vicious than Mr. Asbo. He sticks his neck right into the punts and boats to nip passengers, says
You can't eat them.
Harry Crossell,
Queen.
65. Once I even saw him put his beak around a bottle of champagne. Another resident, Simon Patterson, 52, in case you were wondering, said locals were worried he could get worse as he gets stronger. If he continues, someone could get really hurt, he said.
Who's doing the PR for... Is this the Cam?
Yeah.
Because there was a story about a woman falling into the Cam on a punt. Silly punter fell into the river yesterday or the day before. What's going on?
I think it's the puntsman. Is that what they're called?
Be so careful.
Is that what they're called?
Yeah, sure, why not? Punters.
The
Puntalinos.
The...
Staying out of this one.
I know, yeah, I'm backing away from it.
Yep.
Justin, booze.
Yes, boss. Yes. You got talking about that earlier on. A couple of stories in the papers
Hang on,
today.
Catherine's got one. Can you say it on the radio? No. Okay, carry on, Justin.
Okay. About drinks, alcoholic drinks we've had in the past, which have given us such bad memories, we can never have that drink again.
Yeah.
Now, before we play the street report, I'm not a parent. A quick question to you two. Yeah. Hang on, that's coming in the future. I just like practicing for the time being.
Justin!
What means changing nappies?
Yes. What I would say is, have you ever given your babies whiskey, small amounts, to get them to sleep?
No. My father-in-law has tried to give would dip his finger in the whiskey and try and give it to the kids.
Okay.
He's a doctor, and I would have a right go at him.
I think it was done to me.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's what happened on the streets this morning. The guy in the middle, quite interesting. Take a listen. Scott, we're going back to your youth here. When you first started drinking, what can you never touch again because of what happened to you?
Whiskey, yeah.
made me very ill.
How much did you drink of it?
Nearly half a litre.
How long were you ill for?
I felt ill for about a month.
What? A month?
Yeah.
Never, ever again.
No, definitely not.
Good man, thanks for your time.
Thank you very much.
What about you, madam? What's the drink that you could never have again?
Absinthe. I don't know if you know what it is.
Oh no, I know absinthe. I had it once when I was abroad, never again. How ill were you?
Very much. Very, yeah. I got almost unconscious, and the next day it was a very bad hangover.
It's whiskey.
What happened?
When I was about 5.
Well, hang on a minute here. 5 years old, right, carry on.
It's supposed to be one of these things where they reckon you can put toddlers to sleep with it. And one particular night, couldn't sleep, and Mum and Dad had some friends round, and someone said, "Oh, give them a tot of whiskey, that'll do it."
Oh, my goodness.
I thought somebody was stripping the back of my throat with sandpaper. It was just horrible.
Wow, at 5 years old. I mean, do you still talk to your parents about that night? What were they doing? What were they thinking?
They were doing what somebody else told them.
Do you think that person was having a joke?
I don't know, because I've heard it since.
Really?
Yeah, somebody reckons. I heard somebody suggest once, like little baby's bottle of milk. Just obviously for a baby, you need even like just a little, and they reckon it sends you to sleep.
Can I just say I don't condone this, but that was when you was 5 years old. So at 5 years old, that's an unusual one. So ever since the age of 5, can't believe we're having this conversation. You've never been able to touch whiskey again?
Nope, not a drop.
What a story that is. I was thinking you was going to say you was 18 years old, you was out with your friends, but no, you was 5 years old and your parents were giving you whiskey to get you off to sleep.
Yep.
Well, you've survived. Have a good day.
Yeah, and you.
Vodka and Coke. I don't like vodka. Okay.
You've had a bad experience, Doc. And come on, Doc. Man to man.
Yeah.
Skinny jeans. Would you wear them?
No. It doesn't suit me.
Excellent, Justin. Take the jeans to the streets, please.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's busy on the M25 anti-clockwise between junction 20 for Kings Langley and 18 for Chorleywood. In Boreham Wood on the A1 southbound there are queues between the Holiday Inn and the Stirling Corner, and also in Mill Hill on Watford Way. That's looking very slow southbound between the Apex Corner and Mill Hill Circus. On the A1 southbound it's very slow around the Black Cat roundabout from the St Neots junction, and on the trains at Bellew Greater Anglia are still reporting hour-long delays through Bishop's Stortford, and that's tickets are being accepted on Great Northern services though. On the London Underground, the Metropolitan line still has severe delays because of a signalling problem at Harrow on the Hill. Samantha Breff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Sammy. 7:47, Wednesday the 8th of April. I'm Iain Lead. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. Researchers say the palliative care system in the UK needs a major overhaul to meet growing demand. Labour says everyone living permanently in Britain should pay tax on everything they earn, even if the money is earned overseas. And train services in East Hertfordshire are being delayed after a person was hit by a train between Bishop's Stortford and Stansted Mount Fitchett. 08459 455 555. Let's get the weather. Here's Kate.
Beds, Herts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Good morning. It's not a bad start. Quite chilly for some, but not quite as chilly as yesterday. So the sun's shining and we'll see plenty of it today. Sunny spells through the afternoon, perhaps a little more cloud than yesterday, but temperature's still reasonable. We've got light winds. It's going to feel nice and warm with the maximum getting up to around 16, maybe 17 Celsius. Overnight tonight, a really nice end to the day. Some evening sunshine, and then overnight clear skies means very chilly. Temperatures dropping down, possibly a little bit of grass frost tomorrow morning in the more rural locations, but town and city staying around 5 or 6. So tomorrow morning we could see a bit of mist and fog. That will clear fairly swiftly. It'll lift and then the cloud will break. We'll get some nice sunshine tomorrow afternoon. Maximum temperature for tomorrow could reach 18 Celsius. A similar day for Friday, but then it starts to change. Some rain overnight Friday into Saturday. Saturday could start off rather grey, but it gets better, but the wind's coming from another direction. Despite the sunshine through Saturday afternoon, it will feel that little bit fresher. That's your forecast.
Thank you, Kate.
Roberto Perrone on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Tip-top etiquette expert William Hanson, who is not a fan of politicians oversharing.
Good afternoon, Roberto. I feel slightly nauseous after that music.
Every weekday from 3.
Let's talk to Harriet Harman, the leader of the Labour Party.
We've been in Bedford and Cambridge, and we've had very interesting discussions.
Let's talk cold callers. Do you have a tried and tested method of getting rid of cold callers?
You've got to make up a word before you go on the phone, and so you can fit that word in without them realising the most time.
Saying actually helps you feel calmer. Do you believe this, Sharon?
Definitely. And since I read that, I've been doing it and I'm well chilled.
Roberto Perrone, weekdays from 3 on BBC Three Counties Radio.
On FM, AM, online and digital radio.
This is Iain Lee
on BBC Three Counties Radio.
People living on a mobile home park in Hertfordshire say they're fed up with still not being able to get the problems resolved on the site. The residents of Newlands Park near Hemel say it's been over a year since the bases of some of their homes were reported as cracked to the owners. We went there, didn't we, a while ago, Catherine? You've been there again more recently. They also want action over possible water leaks, access to bills and a way of communicating with the owners which isn't via their lawyers. Catherine, it's still going on, is it?
Yeah, I went back to Newlands Park last week and the bases of the trailers are still cracked and crumbling. Remember we spoke to a guy who was regularly climbing underneath his mobile home and propping it up with bits of wood.
Yes, we saw it.
Very rickety. It's still happening. In fact, it seems to be getting worse in his case. But that chap has had enough of complaining and is withdrawn his support from the campaign to get anything done because he just says he's got no strength to fight it anymore. And also, we've been speaking to the leader of the Residents Association, Mick Deans. He says he's still trying to get something done. All he can do, because it's mobile phones which are often switched off, is writing to the site owners, because at least then he's got some proof that he's been attempting to make contact, because he says the bases in particular are their responsibility and they're not just stepping up to sort it out. In fact, they've not even been answering his letters. Now, underneath those static homes there are gas and waste pipes, and some of them are twisting under the weight of the caravans. He's worried about what might happen.
They've got problems with the electrics as well and other bits and pieces going wrong.
Electrical system. There was a electrical fire at one point, after which a large section of cable was replaced. There's also continuous water leaks, sewerage blockage, and as a result, some of the residents have had raw sewage on their gardens.
Beautiful.
Really high water bills as well, which they suspected was down to leaks. Thankfully, the water company's aware of what's happening. And here's what Mick Deans told me last week.
The problem we have is that the water company have said that they accept the word of the owners that they have repaired all the leaks. Again, dubious. We are not satisfied with that, because there have been 2 or 3 leaks recently which have been a problem, including a sewage leak just opposite me.
Sounds like a nightmare, Mick. Why'd you stay?
Because I quite like the site. I've got good neighbours. I mean, that last time when I was here, my leg was in plaster. Well, some of the neighbours came round and built a ramp for me to make access to my home easier, and it is. And there is a good spirit around here, even though we feel that we are not being properly served by should we just say outside agencies?
We've spoken to another park home site, have we?
Yeah, we wanted to compare the experience that they're having at Newlands Park with a similar place in Bedfordshire. Now, the manager there told us that if all of this happened on his site, the council would be on top of them like a ton of bricks. If the base of a home wasn't repaired, they would have had a letter from the council, and he added that they're required to produce copies of water bills and electricity bills to the residents.
And the latest, because the council weren't getting involved, were they? Saying it wasn't their responsibility. And the park owners, well, I chased one once and he drove off at high speed.
And we've had letters returned that we've sent in. The residents say the owners now refuse to talk to them, and they've had letters to return to them. You know, they've had a try via letter. We have too.
Oh, grow up, guys! Seriously, grow up!
The owners have told the residents that all communication to them now must be in writing through their solicitors. And also, Mick Deans has been told that because he's not a lawyer, he's unlikely to get a response.
Oh, for goodness sakes.
So Mick's hoping there might be someone listening now who is a lawyer and might be up for helping them free of charge.
We would like to continue the fight, but as an association we really haven't got the funds. And I think that this is probably known by the owners, who will win by default if we can't take this any further. So I'm hoping that there is somebody out there that likes a fight for right.
This has become something of a mission for you, hasn't it?
Yeah, I feel quite upset at some of the lack of help that we've had. There are people that have been excellent to us, like yourselves, like Iain Main, and a few other people that have been really promising. But the official bodies that are supposed to help really don't want to know.
So we've not just written to the owners, we've also rung them several times and left messages. No one's returned our call. Three Rivers District Council we also contacted. They say that there's no statement to be made as to the lack of communication, as it's not within the remit of the licence and therefore the council's responsibility. For information, there is now a site warden there now who the residents can speak to, and she will then relay all the details to the site's partners. The Mobile Homes Act 2013 gives councils the power to enforce repairs, but they're not duty bound to do so.
Nice one, guys.
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Now, I think these guys that I'm about to bring to your attention are geniuses. Genii. You seen these fellas? Rescued 2 men at sea in a dodgy £9 boat made of foam and coat hangers. Well, hang on a second. Why are we attacking these blokes when we're talking about young people being lazy and lacking initiative? They had a go. It looks like a boat.
I mean, this is like the sort of more common version of swallows and Amazons. Isn't it?
It was a fishing trip with a very big catch. Namely, they're trying to feed themselves and their families. How can you knock that? Namely, the £9 homemade rowing boat in which the two anglers ventured out onto the open sea. Built with discarded scraps from house conversions, including loft insulation board and polystyrene. It was glued together with silicone sealant. Now, obviously, this was never... It looks like a boat. It's a boat shape. Obviously, this was never going to work.
It looks like a cake, is what it looks like.
Amazingly, the 6-foot vessel held together long enough for the men to set up their rods and haul in some fish. So it did work. But they were scuppered.
Literally.
The boat didn't... The boat survived. They were scuppered when an oar snapped 200 yards off Jaywick, Essex, and they had to call 999.
What they made the oar out of? Lollipop sticks? Matches.
A lifeboat crew arrived to find neither man wearing a life jacket and one unable to swim. So that's
obviously in a boat.
That's society's fault. That's not his fault he can't swim. What? People who can't swim shouldn't be allowed to go in boats? Despite the experience, one of the men yesterday pledged to return to the water with another homemade boat. This is brilliant. I genuinely think these guys are brilliant. Jamie Toms, 27, a self-employed builder, well, I wouldn't want him doing my house if that's what it looks like, said, I'm already thinking about doing it again, but next time I'll get a little engine instead of oars.
Right. Everyone's laughing at them. You're laughing at them now.
No, I'm not. I'm laughing because he's going to get a little engine.
Top Gear. Now, Top Gear have done worse than that. And they're multi-millionaires.
The boat itself was solid. It was waterproof. We took it out the day before and we were in it for 2 or 3 hours.
I'm dying to know what the oars were made of.
And it floated, no problem. The long and short of it is that this time one of the oars snapped. They were proper oars, but one snapped at the join, so we were stranded with only one oar. I called 999 as I was worried for my mate. He can't swim. He was panicking and shaking because it was so cold, so I was more concerned for his safety than my own. If it was just me out there, I would have tried to swim to shore. What's the worst that could have happened? I would have drowned. If it was just me out there, I would have tried to swim to shore. What's the worst that could happen? I would have drowned. That's quite bad. That's quite a bad thing that could have happened.
He's either going to be partly alive, fully alive, or dead.
This guy, man, someone, a TV company, get a boat and take this and film it. He's a genius.
2 men in a boat.
Mr. Tom's had it. We're just 2 lads who were bored and wanted to make a boat. Why not?
Forget Robson Green, right? This is the sort of fishing programme I would watch.
It's better than going out and doing drugs and committing crime.
Yeah, it is.
I was quite calm, as I'd already been in that situation before. In about 2006, me and a few mates bought a rubber dinghy and got peed up.
Oh.
As we wanted to see how far we could get out before needing to be rescued. They're geniuses. Kath, you got 30 seconds. What you got?
IKEA bosses in China have been forced to ban customers from sleeping in beds in store after hundreds of weary shoppers started taking naps. I've been tempted.
Oh.
They're normally very short, those beds, but if you took your knees up, you'd be fine.
Well, but it's in China, isn't it? They're tiny over there.
Oh, yeah, there is that. Follows reports that the Beijing branch has started to resemble a sleepover party.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's still very busy on the M25 anti-clockwise between junction 17 for Maple Cross and 15 for the M4. In Bricketwood, the North Orbital Road is looking very slow too around the M25 junction 21A roundabout, and on the speed sensors the A1 southbound's looking busy from the St Leots junction to the Black Cat roundabout. On the trains, Bellia Greater Anglia still have hour-long delays through Bishop Stortford because of an incident, but tickets are being accepted on Great Northern services between King's Cross and the Cambridge services. The Metropolitan line has severe delays because of a signal problem earlier, and Luton Airport has possible delays to flights to and from France because of strike action by air traffic controllers there. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Oh, and you think you're so good, you talk into the news?
Not my job, mate.
No, I know it's not your job, but you sit here mocking me for my skills.
Thanks, Sammy. And now, in a few seconds,
you see,
you get some news from Simon Oxley. In about 2 seconds. 3.
What was that?
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 8 o'clock. The headlines. Report says palliative care system needs major overhaul. Hertfordshire delays after person hit by train. And MK Dons maintain promotion challenge.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Researchers say the palliative care system in the UK needs a major overhaul to meet growing demand. The charity Marie Curie commissioned the report. In Bedfordshire, ambulance crews receive extra specialist training, which aims to allow more people to remain at home rather than face a trip to hospital. Clive Goodson is from the East of England Ambulance Service.
Using our ambulance crews, the people registered to the scheme has gone up because our crews are now referring people straight to the scheme. So it doesn't matter if you've got cancer or any illness. We want people to get the best palliative care possible, which we believe this scheme is doing.
Train services in East Hertfordshire are being delayed after a person was hit by a train between Bishop Stortford and Stansted Mount Fitchett. Delays to the Abellio Greater Anglia service are expected until around 10 o'clock. Labour is pledging to abolish the non-domicile rule, which allows some wealthy individuals to limit the tax paid on earnings outside the UK. Party leader Ed Miliband will say the rule makes Britain an offshore tax haven. Here's Paul Rowley.
Overall, it affects about 100,000 people. The Conservatives argue just to scrap this status altogether means that many people who already pay a large chunk of their earnings in tax here anyway could well move all their money abroad, and you end up with the revenue actually getting less in tax as a result. But politically, it's an attempt by Labour to, I suppose, embarrass the David Cameron's rich friends and also differentiate themselves from the Tories.
Elsewhere, the Conservatives have promised to introduce resits for pupils who get poor results in their SAT tests at the end of primary school. Passengers at London Luton Airport have been warned to expect disruption today because of a strike by air traffic controllers in France. Luton-based EasyJet is cancelling nearly 120 flights. Investigations are continuing after jewellery and diamonds thought to be worth millions of pounds were stolen in a major raid in central London. Police say thieves used heavy cutting equipment as part of the robbery in the Hatton Garden area at some point over the Easter bank holiday weekend. More from Andy Moore.
The big question, how much was stolen? Well, that depends on how many boxes were broken into. There were hundreds in the vault. The raiders may have had the whole bank holiday weekend to go through many of them. And then there's the question of how much was in each box, and the police won't even know that until they talk to the owners today. There are reports that there was one diamond worth £500,000 in just one box. So the papers are talking about 60 million, 100 million, even 200 million pounds worth of goods were stolen. And if that is the case, then it would be one of the biggest heists ever in UK history.
In sport, 2 goals in the opening 5 minutes from striker Will Grigg gave MK Dons a 2-0 win over Scunthorpe at Stadium MK. The win leaves Carl Robinson's side 5 points behind second place Preston in the race for automatic promotion.
Every time we play, first thing, Preston. And I'm not going to hide that from anybody. It's true. All we care about was we're focused on Preston.
The weather, another dry and warm day with plenty of sunshine, a maximum temperature 17 degrees Celsius, and you can get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/3 counties.
Thank you, Simon Oxley. Morning, this is Iain Lee on BBC Three Counties Radio. Busy show this morning. drink can't you drink because you got drunk on it one night once. Drinking rules, skinny jeans, ripped knees at the jeans. Oh, and you know the rules. Anything you fancy, you can call up for any odds. We throw this stuff out there, but you can call up with anything that's bumping around in your head. 08459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
You can text as well, 81333. Start your text 3CR. Catherine, you want to throw something else into the mix?
Have you ever slept in a shop?
Hey, because of the Chinese?
Because of the IKEA ban on people getting into the beds. Now, I've been tempted, but I've never actually done it. You know Jonathan Vernon Smith?
Yeah.
You aware of him? Works here sometimes. When he buys a new mattress, he gets on the mattress in the shop and he has a nap on there.
I get on there and kind of
Well, you have a
lie
feel of it
down.
and go, yeah, it's a bed, it's all right. But he'll actually try a nap.
He's
He's an extraordinary gentleman.
do you hear him the other day when he saying he took his dog to Oxford Street? I was in Oxford Street yesterday. It's very busy, and he took his dog to Oxford Street. What? I had this in mind as I was walking down Oxford Street. Did not see one dog. No one takes their dog for a walk in central London unless they're going to one of the fine parks. Took his dog for a walk in Oxford Street.
That's like dog banzai, isn't it?
Yeah, it's arrogance. That's animal arrogance. Animal arrogance. Call me now. 08459 455 555. Have you ever fallen asleep in a shop? Kids science we're doing after we had a text yesterday from Tony, whose older sister made him eat a magnet to see if a spoon would stick to his stomach. Kids science as well, please. 08459 455 555. You've got plenty of texts. Can I come to them in a few minutes?
Yeah, I've got some hideous stories.
Oh, dearie me. We'll get those in a moment. The UK's palliative care system needs a major overhaul. That's according to a report commissioned by the charity Marie Curie. It says there are widespread inequalities in care, suggesting that those with non-cancer conditions are receiving considerably less end-of-life care than those with cancer. Joined now by Jim Taggart from Hertfordshire, whose wife died of cervical cancer last year, aged 58. Morning, Jim.
Good morning.
Your wife's name, I don't know it. What was
Mary.
it? Mary. OK, thank you very much indeed. She received palliative care from the Isabel Hospice in Hertfordshire. When did she start to get ill and what happened?
Well, she started to get ill, obviously got normal cancer symptoms, had to go through a course of chemotherapy, radiotherapy, brachytherapy, which lasted approximately 9 to 10 weeks. And then after that, the palliative care kicked in because, unfortunately, the treatment didn't work.
And what kind of palliative care was she getting? And did you have to ask for it, or was it given automatically?
No, in our particular experience, we got the bad news that the treatment hadn't worked, and literally within about an hour, we were put through to an admin person who literally filled out the forms. You can imagine you're in a bit of a daze at this time.
Yeah.
And then within a week, we had somebody from palliative care, I think it was Isabel Hospice, visited our home, and they just complete all the paperwork and basically give you an overview of what will happen from there on in. The thing is, at that time, you're sort of, even though you've had treatment, you're still fairly healthy. You know, you look okay, and you probably just don't believe what's happening. And from there on in, it's really a case of them setting out the parameters of what they can do, really explaining that when you go to a hospice, it's, which you will have to do eventually, that of course it's nothing to fear in the initial stages because it's things like pain management.
It must be quite daunting for a couple to have to take that in, knowing that one of those, the person you love the most in the world is at some point going to die.
Oh yeah, it's an absolute blow to the stomach, believe me. And you're sitting there, and I think in the initial stages, there's definitely denial is there, and because you're looking at the individual, and as I say, to all intensive purposes, they're just like you and me. They're just sitting there, fully dressed, can move, can talk, can do everything. But unfortunately, the disease is fairly quick. I say fairly quick. In our case, it lasted about 15 months, approximately 15 months of palliative care. And during that time, of course, you steadily get worse. And then the initial effects are, of course, the effects of the treatment, which unfortunately really mess up your body quite a bit. And you need a hell of a lot of care for that. And the first care is pain management, because unfortunately, whatever you get from the GP, your normal paracetamols and things, and just
ain't going to cut it, is it? You need something a lot stronger than that. How important was it for both of you, you and Mary, that you got this care? What difference did it make to both your lives?
Well, I suppose initially it's the pain management, because you are absolutely desperate. There's no doubt about it. There's nothing that works, and the pain management is when they will initially have some people maybe visit you at home. And as I say, this is my experience of it. They'll visit you at home maybe once a week or twice a week as necessary. But then when the pain gets so much, or the condition and the symptoms get so bad, then you go into the hospice for an unspecified amount of time. And I think in my wife, if I remember correctly, in my wife's initial stages, it was about, I think, between 2 and 4 weeks. And of course, what the difference is, you have focused care. You literally have doctors there, not exactly when you want them, but they're very accessible. And of course, you've got around-the-clock care as well that you just don't get in a normal hospital. And not that there's anything wrong with a normal hospital. It's just that they're not really geared for terminal illnesses at that stage.
So obviously her comfort, Mary's comfort, was paramount importance. Listen, my dad died a couple of years ago of cancer, and he was in hospice, and it just takes a load off the family as well, doesn't it?
Oh, for sure. I mean, there's a huge emotional upset, as you can imagine, and you're looking, as you say, the person that you think the world of. You're looking at that person every day, and I suppose from a family point of view, you're pretty helpless. When a person goes into a hospice, I mean, I've got to be honest. My before this happened, my impression of a hospice was that when you go in there, you don't come out. And of course that's not. And as I say, my experience, it's not the case. My wife had, I think, three separate spells in the hospice. But the respite is definitely there, because of course the individual suffering from Mary's disease, there's a lot of things happen to your body which are just not very pleasant at all, and you do, or a patient does get to the stage where they're really not capable of doing things for themselves, and that part of it is fairly quick.
How are you doing now, Jim?
Yeah, I suppose getting on with it, really. I've had, about roughly six months since Mary died, but when you look back, and hindsight's a great thing, you look back, and of course you do realise that the individual that you know has probably started dying or, changing maybe a good 12 months before they actually die. So, of course it's still difficult, of course it is, but I think really you just, as they say at the hospice, take it a day at a time.
Thanks for sharing your stories about Mary with us, Jim. Thank you, mate. Oh, dear. Let's speak to... Thank you very much. Told excellently, Jim. Let's speak to Scott Sinclair from Marie Curie. Morning, Scott.
Good morning, Ian.
That's kind of typical of, would you say, of those people with cancer. Jim's wife obviously had cancer, and the report is suggesting that people with cancer, well, they get better palliative care than perhaps others.
I think the crucial thing is that people with cancer can get better care than others. So it's not always the case. And it was very nice to hear that the hospice was there in that situation to provide some very much needed pain relief and round-the-clock care. But that's not always the case for people with cancer. And we know it's especially harder for people with non-cancer conditions as well.
So the people with non-cancer conditions, so people with dementia and heart conditions in particular, their palliative care treatment is generally nowhere near as good. Is that what the report's saying?
Basically, it's saying that if you don't have a cancer condition, you're less likely to get good palliative care services. So that's not to say that people with, say, dementia or with heart disease haven't had really good palliative care. It's just saying that you don't stand as good a chance of getting that palliative care.
Why is that? Is that money? Is it because a lot of money is now, in the last 20 years or so, being put towards cancer? What is it?
I think it's a really, really complex situation. And I think probably one of the key issues is that, particularly for, say, dementia and heart disease, two very good examples, it's very, very hard to diagnose when someone's in the last year or 6 months of life. Whereas with cancer, I think there's that kind of established prognostic tool, the understanding that doctors have that they can, reasonably estimate when someone is in that last year of life. Whereas with heart disease and dementia, it's much less easy to do. Of course, with dementia, there are issues about being able to communicate properly with the person who's suffering from dementia, and so I feel sometimes that doctors perhaps aren't as comfortable referring to palliative care services when they're not sure that the patient is approaching the final stage of their life.
How do we change it, Scott? What do we do?
Well, I think overall there is a shortage of palliative care services in the country. So one of the things the report really highlights is it estimates there are about 100,000 people in the UK at the moment who don't receive palliative care services that they could benefit from, and that's only going to get worse as time goes on, because obviously with the ageing population, we're going to have more people dying every year and dying with more complex needs. So obviously I think we need to do more in terms of getting people to be able to access palliative care services. Part of that is about investment, but it's also partly about supporting doctors to be able to refer patients onto palliative care services. And also I think breaking away from this idea that palliative care services are just for the last weeks or months of life. So what Marie Curie really wants to do is emphasise that actually terminal illness is something that a lot of us will experience in our life, and we want people who are terminally ill to be able to live well as long as possible. And so palliative care plays a role right from the point of diagnosis.
Scott, I appreciate your time this morning. Thank you very much indeed. That's Scott Sinclair from Marie Curie. 08459 455 555 is the phone number. We'll get your phone calls and your texts after a bit of the trav.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M25 anti-clockwise, it's slow from junction 17 for Maple Cross to 15 for the M4, and the A1M southbound is slow now from junction 7 for Hitchin to 8 for Hitchin to 7 for Stevenage. In Margate, the A5 southbound's looking very busy on the speed sensors between Lynch Hill and the M1 junction 9 at Redbourne, but no reports any problems on the M1 at the moment. The A1 southbound though is very busy on speed sensors between the St Neots junction and the Black Cat roundabout, and on the trains, the Metropolitan line still has severe delays after a signalling problem earlier, and Greater Anglia and the Stansted Express are being affected by hour-long delays through Bishop Stortford. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Yeah, I like that one, Sammy. That was a good one, man. 8:15. Oh, look, Jonathan Vernon-Smith has turned up, not on time, early. What's going on? What's that all about? This is unprecedented behaviour.
Just want to spend quality time with you.
Oh, shall I just play a song? Shall I play American Pie and we'll have a chat?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, let me find American Pie.
No, don't really.
Oh, okay, that's okay. Researchers say the palliative care system in the UK needs a major overhaul to meet growing demand. Labour says everyone living permanently in Britain should pay tax on everything they earn, even if the money is earned overseas. And train services in East Hertfordshire are being delayed after a person was hit by a train between Bishop Stortford and Stansted Mount Fitchett.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
I was in Oxford Street yesterday.
Were you?
And I was looking. I was scouring the streets.
Looking for a dog?
Did not see one dog, apart from a homeless fella that was begging.
Right.
I did not see one. Are you one of those people that you go down to London in your Land Rover, you park it up, then you put on your scruffy clothes, then you sit in the doorway, you make 500 quid from begging, and then go back to your posh luxury house? Is that you one of them?
Are you suggesting I'm some kind of tramp?
I'm suggesting you're a plastic tramp, yes.
No, I've never gone...
Is that how you make your money? Because it's not from doing this, trust me. I know.
I've never gone to London and begged.
You sure?
Not for a long time.
Big issue. Big issue.
No, that's not me.
You sure? Because I didn't see any dogs in London apart from tramps' dogs.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you don't get very many. You get tramps have dogs, and then you get these, these silly dogs.
Hmm?
You know, these women who walk along with their little dogs.
Oh, in their handbag.
They look like, cotton wool buds with legs, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Why would you put a dog in a handbag? Why don't you get cats in handbags?
I don't know.
Yeah. Fun times. These are the questions that have puzzled philosophers.
But you don't see many proper dogs in London.
No.
Well, mind you, if you go to some areas, you get these status dogs.
Well, no. Well, you're talking about council estates and...
not necessarily.
Well, where are you talking about then?
Well, I saw a chap with a status dog in Regent's Park on Saturday.
So
on a big chain. I gave him one of my looks.
But why did you... There's a reason you don't see dogs in central London. Because nobody wants them there. So take them to the fine parks, the Hyde Parks, the Regent's Parks. I don't know, there might be others in London. I'm not that bothered, really. But don't take them to the shopping districts. That's out of order. That's selfish. That's selfish dog ownership.
I think people who live in London, they just have a different kind of life.
Yes, they do.
Don't they?
They have an interesting, cool life. I lived in London
Do you
for a while.
reckon?
I had an interesting, cool life. I moved out. Boring.
No, I don't think so. I hated living in London. Hated it.
I miss it.
Really? Do you?
I do, actually, yeah.
Do you? Why do you miss about London? No one talks to you.
Yep.
Everyone's miserable. Oh,
Yep.
actually, now
Yes.
now it's making sense.
It's like this is home to me. Anyway, what's on your show today?
Well, this is an interesting story. I know it's something that you touched on a few weeks ago, but the story has developed. I'm going to be asking from 9 today, do you mind if Jews tie a wire round Bushey?
Oh.
A letter criticising a Jewish campaign to turn a Hertfordshire town into a protected Jewish area has been shared online around the Jewish world. 2 weeks ago, we learnt that Jewish people in Bushey were campaigning to put posts and a wire boundary around the area to show it as a Jewish community. This wire, known in Jewish cultural tradition as an eruv, do you remember it now? Is this story?
Yeah, I remember it perfectly. Yes, of course.
Has been criticised as unnecessarily disturbing the Hertfordshire town, where many people of different faiths have coexisted happily. However, Stephen Roston, chair of the Bushian District Synagogue, has said the letter of complaint is hurtful and anti-Semitic. Well, from 9 this morning, I want your reaction to this. Do you mind if Jews tie a wire around Bushey? 08459 455 555. I grant you, it's a novel phone-in.
Yeah.
But we'll be discussing it from 9. I want your reaction. As the general election gets closer, we want to know what you really think.
Sometimes it gets a bit boring, I think.
But we kind of feel like nothing changes.
The Parliament really needs a good shake-up.
We're holding a number of debates across Beds, Herts and Bucks, focusing on the biggest issues.
The national health, I think that's a big concern at the moment.
Immigration, probably.
I think education more than anything.
If you'd like to take part and have your say, you can register your interest right now. Email 3cr@bbc.co.uk or call 08459 455 555.
I always do the vote because I think it's my right to vote.
Election 2015 on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Ken in Redbourne has emailed in on the subject of palliative care. Based on the experience of my father-in-law, I would say the palliative care needs of patients with dementia are entirely ignored simply because they are unable to tell anyone that they are suffering. 08459 455 555. I know Catherine is chomping at the text bit. We'll come to the texts in a bit. Let's do this. Let's speak to Anthony first, and then we'll come to the texts. 81333. Start your text 3CR. Who knows? You might get your name read out on radio. Now, a programme on BBC Two this evening reveals the tactics used by so-called Islamic State to lure young British women to Syria. More than 60 young British women have travelled to the country, lured by a combination of slick marketing, social media and religious fervour. Britain's Jihadi Brides is the name of the programme, and it's had access to the friends and family of some of the girls. Well, Professor Anthony Gleeson is Professor and Director of the Centre for Security and Intelligence at the University of Buckingham. Morning, Anthony.
Good morning.
How do they do it? How do they get those girls to go, do you know what? I'm going to give up my nice house and I'm going to travel to Syria and I don't know what I'm going to expect, but boy, oh boy, I'm going to go.
Well, the question's very good. It's actually very hard to answer, and I've seen some clips from what promises to be a fascinating programme on the BBC, made by a colleague, I don't know her, from London, Dr. Catherine Baker. And she looks at one aspect of this, really, which is the use of the social media, and particularly Twitter, where people, she says, are sending messages designed to lure young English girls over to, in this case, Syria, but could be any part of Syria or Iraq controlled by the Islamic State. And it's a very intriguing story that's told. Whether it's the complete story, though, I have to say that I would doubt.
So you're suggesting that it's more than just, Twitter and Facebook and online. That there is a person that gets involved physically with them?
my own feeling is that we have to sort of separate the various groups out from each other. This is talking about women by research done by women on women. The women fall into different categories. There are those who are over the age of 18, over the age of consent, and they go off to be what they call brides. Then there are people under the age of consent, like the 3 girls from Bethnal Green Academy in East London recently, 2 of them 15, 1 of them 16. And the way these people are enticed, I would say brainwashed, to go off and to regard themselves as jihadi brides. The very name of the BBC programme is in a sense misleading, because many of these young girls are not jihadi brides, they're sex slaves. Let's call it what it actually is. And the idea that a 15-year-old girl would go off to a strange country, and a lot of these tweets show they miss the ordinary things of everyday British life, they would go off and live this life as sex slaves on the basis of things that are being tweeted at them, sounds not totally plausible to me. I guess there's somebody there somewhere coaxing them physically.
Anthony, I wanted to ask you, but those girls that you mentioned, and we had their parents and their family in front of the select committee and speaking to Keith Vaz and saying, oh, it's terrible, it's the police's fault, it's the government's fault, all of this. And then it turns out that one of the dads had been at rallies. Now, I've only seen a picture, and surely we've all been at a meeting burning a flag and shouting, haven't we? I mean, what can we draw from that?
Well, of course, I've got to be very careful about what I say about any particular instance, but on the whole, I would say, even before we knew about this family connection with Islamist extremism, I myself was saying things to people like what I've said to you, that I don't think 15-year-old girls, I had a 15-year-old daughter myself once, I don't think they just go off without somebody in authority within the family giving them some guidance, giving them a push. Now, it could be a political push. In this case, I think it's possible that a member of the family says, the Islamic State really represents the true values of Islam. You must do your duty and go and have further babies who can turn into Islamic State soldiers. All of that seems to me to stack up more than people going off to the other side of the world, effectively to the third world, on the basis of tweets. I wouldn't downplay the importance of the social media. I think it is very important, but somewhere there is a human voice brainwashing, coaxing, and if you go after that human voice, I think you do a lot to stop people going, and to make it very, very clear, as this program does, that those people who do go off there are joining a group of sadistic, brutal murderers. This has nothing to do with the ideals of Islam. This has to do with a group of marauding, beheading sadists, and no young British girl, Muslim or otherwise, should ever want to be part of a group of people like that.
Anthony, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much, Professor Anthony Gleeson. The programme is on BBC Two tonight, Britain's Jihadi Brides. I don't know what time it's on. You'll have to have a look in the TV Times, innit? Oh, no. Whoa. Hey. Whoa, dudes.
Gosh, time flew then.
Whoa,
Wow.
guys. Calm down. Calm down. Calm down. Catherine, you were champing at the bit with Texas.
There's some terrible drunken stories, and there's one about a bed and falling asleep in a shop.
Let's do the bed one,
yeah,
and then we'll do the boozy ones after 8:30, so you've got time to send the kids off to the offie.
I was telling you earlier on that when Jonathan Vernon-Smith buys a bed, he likes to test it out, and he will have a nap in the shop if he can.
Yeah.
Good on Jonathan, says Caroline of Bedford. When I was looking to buy a mattress, the only one that felt comfy was a memory foam one that cost over $800.
Memory foam?
Well, she's written form.
Well, maybe it is.
Cost over £800. I refused to spend that amount of money, only to find that I woke with a bad back after my first night's sleep. I'm just reading them out.
Well, you know.
So I told the manager I would be back the next day for a sleep. I went in, set my alarm on my phone for 1 hour and went to sleep. Woke up refreshed, bought the mattress.
So she went in for a sleep for an hour?
Yeah.
No, I don't think that's appropriate.
I couldn't relax enough. I can't really relax on planes and in cars and stuff.
I used to be able to do a brilliant trick on an aeroplane where the takeoff, if I was really tired, and I'd always be tired before a flight, I'd make sure I could make the takeoff knock me out. The change in pressure. I used to be able to do it. Can't do it now.
Oh.
I took Valium as well. That may have.
I think it might have been
had something
that.
to do with it. Yes.
Travel news for beds, cards, and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the A1M southbound, that's looking very busy between junction 8 for Hitchin and 7 for Stevenage. In Amersham, the Gore Hill is looking very slow southbound between the A413 and London Road, and it's also really busy around the Black Cat roundabout on the A1 southbound from the St Neots junction. Having a look at the speed sensors in Stevenage, and the A602 Broadhall Way is looking very busy in both directions between the football ground and the A1M. And on the trains, the Metropolitan line still has severe delays, but there's no reports of any major problems apart from Greater Anglia trains. They still have hour-long delays through Bishop Stortford. At Luton Airport, there could be some problems to flights to and from France because of industrial action by air traffic controllers there. Samantha Brough, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Sammy, thank you very much indeed. Last half hour of the show, we'll have more from Dealey. If you want to take part, now is an excellent time to call 08 459 455 555, or you can text 81333. Start your text 3CR. Maybe we'll speak to you after the news with Simon Oxley.
Across beds, hearts, and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 8:30, the headlines. Labour is pledging to abolish the non-domicile rule, which allows some wealthy individuals to limit the tax paid on earnings outside the UK. Party leader Ed Miliband will say the rule makes Britain an offshore tax haven. Train services in East Hertfordshire are being delayed after a person was hit by a train between Bishop Stortford and Stansted Mount Fitchett. And researchers say the palliative care system in the UK needs a major overhaul to meet growing demand. The charity Marie Curie commissioned the report.
Three Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
2 goals in the opening 5 minutes from striker Will Grigg gave MK Dons a 2-0 win over Scunthorpe at Stadium MK. The win closes the gap to second-place Preston to 5 points, whilst Carl Robinson's side are themselves 5 points clear of 4th-place Swindon, who lost at Bristol City. The manager was delighted with Grigg's growing goals tally.
19 goals and probably about 15 miles covered. Incredible. I just think he's a tremendous example for any young fan. We're a club with a very young fan base, and I think if you're looking to become, well, not just footballers but anything in life, a work ethic should be part of your DNA, and he has that in abundance, and he showed everyone once again today that he works his socks off.
In the Premier League, a hat-trick from Christian Benteke gave Aston Villa a 3-3 draw at home to fellow strugglers QPR. Tonight, Liverpool travel to Blackburn for their FA Cup quarter-final replay. The winners will face Aston Villa in the Wembley semi-final. Watford have sold out their ticket allocation for their matches at Nottingham Forest and Brighton later this month, while the final Championship game of the season at home to Sheffield Wednesday is close to selling out. Luton have cancelled the contract of defender Paul Connolly by mutual consent. Connolly signed last summer but has only made 6 appearances, and Wycombe boss Gareth Ainsworth has been shortlisted for the League 2 Manager of the Month award for March. It's the final day of practice for Rory McIlroy and company ahead of tomorrow's US Masters Golf at Augusta. McIlroy is aiming to complete a Grand Slam of major titles, already achieved of course by the returning Tiger Woods.
I worked hard. People would never understand how much work I put into it to come back and do this again. It was sun up to sundown. Whenever I had time, if the kids were asleep, I'd still be doing it. When they were in school, I'd still be doing it. It was a lot of work.
BBC Three Counties News and Sport. The next full bulletin is at 9.
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
We know how hard it was for you, Tiger, eh? We know how hard it was for Tiger to be juggling balls and sinking holes and playing with his wood, yeah, and his 9-iron. It was hard for Tiger, wasn't it, getting his wood out and juggling balls.
Off the back windscreen.
Yeah, and it was hard for Tiger playing around.
Of golf.
Yeah, he's playing around. Yeah, that's what I said. He was playing around. It was hard for Tiger when he was playing around. He had all those balls. He was playing with his wood. He was playing around with his wood. It was hard for Tiger when he was playing around with his wood.
See what's happening now.
She's joining in.
Yeah.
Shall I turn her microphone
I
off?
would.
Okay. It was hard for Tiger when he was playing around with his wood.
Okay. Stop. We get it.
I'm talking about golf, mate. What's your problem? You're trying to censor golf. You're the man. You're the suit. You've changed. You've changed, man. You're not the woman I used to know. You're not the woman who used to just wear bra and pants and be sick out of a window and feed the pigeons. That's not the girl I used to know.
You didn't know that girl.
I know, but I pictured that girl. You're not the girl I used to know who, Oh, I can't tell that story on the air. That was private. 08459 455 555. You're still champing at the bit for Texas, but Chris is in Milton Keynes. And Chris trumps Texas. That's the rumour going around, Chris. Is it true?
It is.
That was the chair. What have you got for us?
Morning, Ian. How you well? Yeah, my experience with drinking wasn't too great, to be honest.
Go on, let's be having you.
Okay, right. This is probably 8 or 9 years ago now.
Yeah.
I've been living out in New Zealand for a year, came back and went out with all my friends down on the south coast, went into a bar, had about 6 beers in an hour.
Oh, yeah, tough guy, yeah.
Yeah, felt fine.
Of course you do. You were sat down, were you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it was time to leave and move on to the next bar, or so I thought. So, yeah, walking towards the front door, and as someone opens the front door, I feel the fresh oxygen hit my face.
Yes.
And at that point, I fell flat on my face.
Chris!
So, at this point, luckily I have 2 great friends with me who decided to carry me home 1.5 miles up to the hotel.
Wow.
Of course, stopping at the kebab shop.
Aren't our friends so kind to us when we are drunk? Aren't they kind?
I know, but it gets better than that. Not only did they drop me off outside the kebab shop while they went in and got their kebab, they then continued to carry me home until they could find a quiet spot. They then laid me on the pavement while they sat on the wall eating their kebab, and then my friend gave me a kick to the chest every minute or so just to make sure I was still breathing. I was ill for about 3 days after that, and I've never drunk lager really since.
Really? Is that it had that such a profound effect on you?
I think the worst thing was I remember every last bit of it. I was 100% conscious, but I couldn't control my body.
You couldn't. Oh, dearie me, blimey.
I don't drink much anymore.
Chris, thank you very much indeed. Our friends are so cruel to us when we are drunk, aren't they?
We used to play human buckaroo on my mate Ben.
Oh, yeah?
Because he was one of these that could fall asleep anywhere, and did in the middle of parties.
Yeah.
So we used to stack things on him, and we managed quite a number of items.
We once played hangman and noughts and crosses all over my friend's body.
Oh, for a second I wonder where that was going.
Marker pen. Face,
08459 455 555. Your drinking rules. What the hell? We can do drunk stories. It's half term.
We can do drunk stories.
It's educational. It puts kids. We don't condone it. I haven't had a drink for 10.5 years, so I don't condone it.
But tired.
But this is partly why I like hearing other people's drunk stories.
It reminds you why it's not fun.
It reminds me why I don't drink. Imagine that. I've not had a hangover for 10.5 years.
Man.
It is a silly thing to do, really, isn't it? I mean, and it's expensive. Told you how much I paid the other day in London? £16 for 2 drinks.
Yeah.
£16 for 2 drinks that tasted a bit like, I don't know because I'd never tried it, toilet duck.
Fair play. It was Angel's Wee Wee you were drinking, though.
Hopefully.
Texas, Catherine.
Loads.
Let's be having you.
And some of these are awful, so brace yourselves.
Fun times.
I'll ease you in with Barry of Bedford.
Morning, Barry.
Hi,
I love
Ian.
the name Barry.
Sangria, I got really ill, never again. OK, I think we all know about that story.
Scott has tweeted, sorry, has Kath got any videos of her playing human buckaroo?
Thank goodness all that happened in the days before camera phones, because there would be a lot of footage there. There would be a lot of footage.
I'm so glad that camera phones didn't exist when I used to booze. Imagine that, and Facebook wasn't a thing. Oh, God, I wouldn't be working here. I wouldn't have a job. No one would employ me.
No, the 90s were a very boozy time.
Oh, it was horrible. Horrible.
Linda, all right, this is a really awful one. So if you don't want to hear about someone, it contains nudity and bodily functions.
Oh, gosh, that's my weekends. Yes, go on.
Some time ago, I went to a very posh Christmas party. Evening dress donned, I had a fantastic evening, drinking ridiculous amounts of white wine. Oh, they'll get you. It all went downhill. When I eventually got home...
you.
I did the straight to the bathroom, balanced my head in my hands whilst trying to balance my elbows on my knees while sitting on the toilet classic. Yes, I know.
Yeah.
I fell off the loo head first, threw up, and lay in it. The evening dress I was wearing was strapless, so everything fell out.
Hey, good morning, guys. You won't get this on BBC Norfolk.
Unfortunately, my mother-in-law, who was babysitting at the time, discovered me crying, topless, and covered in sick.
That's that. Hey, by coincidence, that's the title of your autobiography, isn't it? Crying, topless, and covered in sick. The Catherine Boyle story. Looking forward to reading that.
With the subtitle, Wine is Not My Friend. Mortified. After a week-long hangover, I didn't touch white wine for about 5 years afterwards. But Linda seems to have got back on that pony fairly recently.
I never liked white wine. It used to just give me headaches.
I like it really, really, really cold on a hot day.
Oh,
but otherwise, red wine. But red wine's not my friend either.
Red wine, oh, yeah. That'll do the trick. Mickey's in Hatfield. Morning, Mickey.
Morning, mate. You all right?
Yeah, I'm all right, fella. What you got for us?
All right, so back when I lived at home with my mum, I come home one night after being completely troshed, and my window was next to my bed. I'm laying down, the world's spinning. I think I'm going to chuck. I sit up, I push my window open, I vomit. I feel, that was brilliant.
Yeah, it's such a relief,
coolness.
isn't it?
I felt brilliant. I felt cool. I thought, yeah.
Yeah, it's always cool after a vomit.
I wake up getting beaten by my mother. In actual fact, I didn't open the window. I vomited. It splattered straight back on me, all over my bed, all over my chest, all over the floor.
Mickey, thank you very much. Did your mum do the thing and make you have to clean it up? Mickey's gone. Mickey's gone. The memory was too much for Mickey. Thank you, Mickey. What an horrific story. Hope you enjoy. We'll get complaints about this. Glenn's on the line. Good morning, Glenn.
Morning, Ian.
Then you've never had a boozy experience, surely?
I have, yes. Many, but on this one was around about 1985.
Yeah.
And there used to be me and a couple of mates, and we used to go out, and whatever we were wearing, by the end of the night, it was always trashed.
Yeah.
Who
needs clean clothes, Glenn? They're for squares.
Hey, new shirt, doesn't matter.
New shirt, poo shirt.
So anyway, on this night, we left the pub, and I said to one of my mates, I said, quick, let's just hide from a guy called Eddie.
Yeah.
I said, when he comes back, we'll jump him. We'll dead leg him and rip his more clothes.
Yeah.
This guy walks past, we jump him, and then we run back in the pub.
Oh.
And Eddie's still in the pub.
Oh, you basically mugged somebody.
And stripped him.
Yeah, but he came back in with his glasses all crooked, and he still, to this day, he still doesn't know. I was thinking about going on Simon Mayo's confession.
What, building a time machine and going back 10 years? So hang on, so did you know the fella that you mugged?
Yes, yeah, he was in the pub as well.
All right, okay. But you never said to him, we're really sorry, we just beat the whatever out of you. We thought you were Eddie.
He didn't even know.
So he thinks he got attacked?
Yeah.
Hey, nice mates. Nice mate. Thank you, Glenn. Glenn's got a dark side to him. He comes over as a nice fella. These are always the ones. Shipman, West, nice fellas. Well, actually not West. But anyway... They're always the ones with the dark side. By the way, I'm not in any way comparing Glenn to... Well, I am comparing him to Harold Shipman.
But not like that.
Not like that. Thank you, Catherine. Yes, I was getting in a little bit of a cul-de-sac there. Murderous cul-de-sac. Good film, by the way.
Do you want me to reverse your vehicle?
Yeah, please do.
Maffin Hanslope says...
Beep, 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 beep. It's a big cul-de-sac. Beep, 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 beep.
Mind that child.
I'm not Mr. Whippy. Why has Mr. Whippy always got mind that child? What makes you suspicious? What has he done in the past? Mind that child!
Who says mind that anyway, apart from my gran?
Yeah, what have you got? What have you done, Mr. Whippy? I don't understand it. Anyway, I don't want to get involved in the ice cream wars. Nothing to do with me. As you were, fellas. As you were. Catherine.
You know, they used to do it without. Before they invented cones, you used to get like a little tiny vase.
A vase? No,
yeah, you did.
A vase of ice cream.
Yeah, and it used to be passed around. It was like a communal one, and it used to be called a tuppenny lick.
Oh, I do remember the tuppenny lick. That was your nickname at school, wasn't it?
Anyway, people got really iffy
because you liked ice cream so much.
People started to get horrible diseases, so they stopped doing that.
They did do that.
They invented a cone. Who would have thought it'd been so simple?
Because she liked ice cream a lot before you complain.
I don't like ice cream at all, actually. Maffin Hanslope. I had a bad experience one Christmas Eve on Red Stripe Crucial Brew after a day drinking Cherry Coke when it first came out. Oh, do you remember that?
Yeah, it was horrible. Cherry Coke and Dr. Pepper. No, thank you. Send them back to America.
I also won't drink sherry after witnessing Andy Bosworth returning a whole bottle of it slightly faster than the speed he consumed it. Oh, Andy.
By the way, if you're telling stories about people drinking, you've got to give us their full names. Because the Glenn story was good, but Eddie who? Andy Bosworth, I can picture it. You need to... It was Andy Bosworth got legless on Sherry one night.
Well, Ben Aroo was Ben Kerr.
There we go. Simon, now, this is interesting, Simon. Queen's Silver Jubilee Party...
1977, glorious year.
In Kevin Godley's marquee. 10cc! Champagne cocktails, slept in a puddle on a golf course. I was 16. Where have you had a sleep when you're drunk? Because I used to... We moved to Farnham Common, which is in Bucks. So, yeah, I'm local and vocal, so you can have that. But all of my friends used to live in Slough. It's about 3-4 miles. I drive that road quite a lot now, and I used to walk from Slough to Farnham Common when I was K-Lide at the age of about 16, 17. It's a flipping long walk. What I would do... it would be like then you couldn't get buses to there, and I couldn't afford a cab, so it's like about a 2-hour walk. So I would run bits of it. This is like 1 o'clock in the morning. I'd run bits of it until I got out of breath, and then I'd walk. Then when I got my breath back, I'd run a bit so I'd get home quicker. That was my philosophy. But also, I'd stop and have little dozes on the way home. I'd have a little doze because you think, the number of dozes I've had on the Slough trading estate, just because I thought, I'm a little bit. Let me just have a 10-minute doze, and I'd wake up covered in dew.
Yes.
Bus stops, I've had dozes. Parks, I've had dozes. I had a doze, literally around the corner from my house. I was so tired, I thought, I'll just have a little doze, and then before I get to Forge Drive, and I'll have... Where have you had a sleep when you're drunk? 08459 455 555, yeah.
Like the king of the fairies.
More ways than one. If you can combine... This is what we're going to do. Go to travel. If in the last 15 minutes you can combine having a doze when you're drunk and sleeping in a shop... then you win a crown. 08459 455 555.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's looking busy on the A1M southbound between junction 8 for Hitchin and 7 for Stevenage. And in Stevenage on Broadhall Way, that's looking very busy in both directions at Gunnells Wood Road on the approach to the A1M. In Beaconsfield, Amersham Road is partially blocked by an accident involving 3 vehicles at Ledborough Lane. It's causing delays from London Road. And in Watford, on Watford Heath, there's roadworks. It's closed between Oxley Lane and Oxley Avenue, so expect long delays into Watford northbound. On the trains, Bailey Road to Anglia still have hour-long delays through Bishop Stortford because of an incident earlier on, but tickets are being accepted on Great Northern services between King's Cross and the Cambridge services. And at Luton Airport, there are possible delays to France flights to and from France or over France because of France because of a strike by air traffic
controllers. In your
pants,
it's France.
And do use plastic and get cash from the money machine.
Hang on a minute. Sorry. Hang on a second. Sorry. Is she cheeking me?
Yeah.
On my show?
She's also right. It's France.
It's France. Kelly?
France.
Thank you.
What do they say in France? That's the answer to the question.
We should maybe do that.
Okay. Possible delays to the flights to and from France.
Oh, for goodness. France in my pants. What's she talking about? Doesn't make any sense. How would you get France in your pants? I mean, Catherine might, but I mean, any normal person. Catherine probably has, haven't you? You went there a lot.
No.
Spain? She actually winked at me. She winked at me. 8:46, it's Wednesday. If any show's going to get me the sack, it's today's. 8:46, it's Wednesday the 8th of April. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. Labour says everyone living permanently in Britain should pay tax on everything they earn, even if the money is earned overseas. Train services in East Hertfordshire are being delayed after a person was hit by a train between Bishop Stortford and Stansted Mount Fitchett. And researchers say the palliative care system in the UK needs a major overhaul to meet growing demand. Let's get the weather. Here's Kate.
Beds, hearts and bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Good morning. It's not a bad start. Quite chilly for some, not quite as chilly as yesterday, but we have bright skies, blue sky and sunshine, and we're going to see plenty of sunny spells today. Bit more cloud around, so the temperature may not feel quite as warm, but still reasonable, 16, 17 Celsius likely later this afternoon. Really nice end to the day with some evening sunshine. Clear skies, though, mean it is going to be another chilly night, minimum down to 2 Celsius. A nice start tomorrow morning, bit chilly, but some good spells of sunshine once the mist and fog clears. Maximum temperature potentially up to 18 Celsius, and that's your forecast.
Don't worry, ladies. Dealey's on the way.
Sometimes in life, things don't always go to plan.
It worked perfectly for 2.5, 3 years till 2 days ago.
He should refund me £1,900.
Which is where we come in.
We managed to get them to agree to come back in to the property on an agreed date.
The JVS show takes on your consumer problems.
I've basically lost the whole lot in administration charges.
And helps to get to the right solution.
I've received a cheque back for £578.
Jonathan, I can't thank you enough. I don't know how you do what you do, you and your team.
The JVS show, weekdays from 9, here on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Hey up, Dealey.
Hey, good morning, boss.
Where have you fallen asleep when you're drunk?
On a train once. I ended up, where did I end up? It was a long way from Hemel, put it that way.
Yeah, you probably still had fun there.
Yeah, still had lots of fun, yeah, you know, waking up on the train, how am I going to get back? Oh, the excitement, the next one's not running for 2 hours, hanging out with the locals there, wherever I was.
Doing a
and
Vox.
coming back, yeah, why not? It was good times.
Yeah, great times. So we've got any more texts,
Yeah,
Catherine?
loads.
Okay, let's have a few more texts and we'll speak
Let's
about
just
jeans.
say, we're not glorifying drunkenness. Most of these are hideous stories, and the people telling them are laughing.
They're
because
losers.
It's so horrible.
Everyone's a loser.
Mark in Bedford used to go out with a girl from Derby.
Mark's a loser, and so is the girl.
No, it's the girl mostly. She passed out in Pizza Hut toilets. I mean, who gets drunk in Pizza Hut?
oh gosh. Well, I used to do a television programme called Rise, a breakfast show that I loved and nobody watched it. The rap party, I mean, it was coming close to the dark days. But with the rap party, everyone's having a good time. And then suddenly I wake up in the toilet. I'm on the floor. No, first of all, I wake up on the balcony with wet trousers.
Oh, no.
I fell asleep on the bags of ice.
Okay.
And that's fine. I go back to the party. Then suddenly I'm awake. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm in the toilet. And there's nobody in the building. Everyone's gone. I could have been dead for all they knew. I found them. The party continued. And then it got even worse.
Wow.
Anyway, go on.
Can't you go back to those days?
Let's go back to Pizza Hut and the girl from Derby.
Maybe once.
She's in the toilet. She's very drunk.
Yes.
Mark in Bedford resumes. She woke up after everyone had gone home and it was all locked up. Had to be let out by setting the alarm off to get the manager back in. Mark. She sounds like a keeper.
I would have helped myself to olives. Wouldn't you? Wouldn't you, though? You're locked in a pizza restaurant. What are you going to do? Eat as many olives as you can to survive.
Pizza Hut, though, they've got a delicious salad bar.
What if you don't like olives or salads? Then what?
Then you're out, mate. Then you ring the alarm. We've also been talking about jeans today, Justin. I bought a pair yesterday.
Yes.
The gentleman was rather rude to me. What do you do for a living, sir? I work in radio. Oh, that's why you dress like that. And he actually said, That's
what that woman did after she said, "What can I get you fellas?" to me and you.
She did. She did say that. It was Costa, wasn't it?
Be fair, you know, the beard's coming along nicely.
So I bought jeans. I said, I'm a dad. I want dad jeans, but I don't want to go too Tony Blair. And in the end, I got some 501s, classic.
Should have gone for the skinnies. No, and you know that. Come on, skinny jeans have changed my life.
I tried the skinnies on for a laugh, and I should have taken a photo. They felt comfortable, very supportive, like support stockings, aren't they?
Yeah.
But they look ridiculous.
I want you to go back there, and I want you to do it again, and I want you to take a picture.
All right, I will try on some skinnies and take a picture.
Boss, when are we going shopping? I mean, the offer's been there for a year or so now, but you keep saying you're busy. What's going on?
Take the hint.
Why aren't you taking him up on it?
Yeah, come on, why not?
Anyway, so and also girls, the fashion at the moment, Justin, I don't get it. These beautiful, beautiful girls with their black jeans. All right, a lot of them, 85% of them are munters. But there's 80% are munters, 85% are 10% are mingers, 5% are all right.
Yeah.
But they've got ripped knees, and I just think I lived through that in the 80s. Jason Donovan got booted out of Harrods for having ripped jeans. Have you learnt nothing?
Fashion's moved on. Years ago, you couldn't get into a nightclub wearing trainers. Now, of course, they are the in thing.
They're de rigueur.
Yeah, I'm wearing my skinny
jeans. Is that the name of the mate? Is that how you pronounce it? Oh, no, it's Nike.
Nike. I'm wearing my skinny jeans this morning. I discovered them about a year ago. Got about 5 pairs. They've well and truly changed my life and my swag.
Changed a lot of people's lives and sexuality once they saw you in them as well, Just.
Okay, mate, chill out.
You've taken this to the streets.
Yeah, I have. Now, this package contains
Oh, come on, mate. Come on, mate. Stop it. We know what the package contains. What about the report?
This report contains some very awkward moments, some very frank moments, some very near-to-the-mark comments, and an American fashionista randomly walking the streets of Bedfordshire this morning. Take a listen to this.
Taking it to the streets with J-Dog.
Hey man, you're listening to the Iain Lee Breakfast Show.
#swag.
Do you like men with skinny jeans?
Not really.
Do you not like my look?
Not really.
Madam, we're talking about men who wear skinny jeans this morning. Oh, your face has changed. You don't like that vibe, do you?
No, I don't like skinny jeans. They don't look manly, I don't think. They look a bit girly. You haven't got them on, have you?
Look down.
Oh, yes, you have.
Men in skinny jeans, madam. Is it the tighter the better?
Don't like them. You can see everything, and sometimes they haven't got much to show.
Oh, what about mine?
Yeah, well, you've got enough to show.
Mick, how often do you wear skinny jeans?
I don't wear skinny jeans. I wear these. I bought these in Vegas, these.
What year?
1962.
Madam, good morning. Check you out.
How are you?
All right, sunglasses, flasher Mac, white handbag. It's all going on here, isn't it?
Yes, I hope so.
Okay, where are you from?
California.
Oh, I knew it. I knew it. That tan as well. Okay, we're talking about skinny jeans today. Let's get the American perspective. Men who wear skinny jeans, do you love them or do you hate them?
If they have a nice body, then I love them. But if they don't and they put skinny jeans on and it doesn't look real cool.
Have you ever said to a man before, and you Americans, you don't hold back.
No.
Have you ever said to a man before, what do you think you're doing, mate? Change your jeans now.
Yeah, definitely. I'm a HR director, so I always let employees even know how they dress, just because I think it's important how they look. It's kind of a good conversation because it breaks the ice, and it's like, oh, well, what about my shoes? What about this? And it just brings them out personality-wise.
Saying to somebody you look a state, you think that breaks the ice?
You don't put it that way, definitely. you obviously let them know, because look at you. You look good. Look, you got Pumas on, nice tennis shoes. Your scarf's a little bit raggedy, but hey, your coat's all good.
So if it looks right on the guy, if it looks right, no problem. If they say your body shape doesn't work, forget it. Don't try and be something you're not.
No, you're right. That's right. Definitely. I think you've got to be your own person. You've got to love yourself. If you love yourself, you can wear whatever you want to wear.
Wow, she was enthusiastic.
I mean, she's saying if you love yourself, you can wear whatever you want to wear. So, I mean, boss, I'm saying you can wear skinny jeans.
Can I make an amendment to that?
Go on.
If you love yourself, you can wear what you want to wear, and I will judge you for it.
She also said this.
Hey, man, you're listening to the Iain Lee Breakfast Show. #swag.
Beautiful.
You like that, didn't you?
Justin, say hello to Andy.
Hello, Andy.
Hello, Justin.
How are you, Andy?
I'm all right.
Excellent. What have you got for us this morning, Andy? You sound a bit cheesed off.
No. Tales of a drunken state, okay?
Right, okay. What happened to you?
You drunk now, Andy?
No, Justin will appreciate this one.
Okay.
When I was 18, it was at Christmas time, so I was going to a party, so I went into the pub with a few friends, and I got absolutely legless, and I went to the party. And apparently, although I don't know this, but I was told that I went into the party and sat in the sandwiches. And then I came home. It was only about 10:30 at night. I had my new sweater on for Christmas, and I was absolutely sick all over it. And then I went and locked myself in the loo for about an hour. And then I was due to play football the next day. So when I woke up, I felt terrible. So I went to the ground and I played, and I broke my leg. Right, so I came home, I still didn't realise I broke my leg. I got in the bath, it swelled up tremendously. And my dad refused to take me to the hospital.
I've got a question for you, Andy. You say that you fell asleep in the sandwiches. What flavour were they? They weren't smoked salmon by any chance, were they?
I don't know.
Thank you, Andy. Great memories. Could you work that into a musical memory, maybe, just for your show?
I think so. Yeah. What was the song on the jukebox when you fell asleep in the smoked salmon sandwiches?
Beautiful.
Call me now.
Was it this? Justin, excellent stuff today. We'll speak to you tomorrow. And by that I mean I won't be talking to you in the office. All right? Any more texts, Catherine?
Loads, but really, there's a lot of drunkenness.
How can we just say we're not in any way condoning drunkenness? I haven't had a drink for 10.5 years. I recommend that as the way forward, guys. Although on my last days, I'm gonna go mash up. Seriously, I'm gonna drink it. I'm gonna swallow it. I'm gonna snort it. Seriously, the last few days of my life, I am gonna go mash up.
No, you're not, because
I'm gonna drop it.
Because
I'm gonna inject it. going to drink it, I'm going to snort it, I'm going to lick it.
I'm with you on that.
Yay!
Well, the
Count
thing
me
is,
in.
right, at your age and at my age, we'll manage about 2 hours and fall asleep.
Beautiful! Go on, give us a couple of texts.
All right, here we go. From Jamie in Luton. Southern
Morning,
Comfort.
Jamie.
I was 16 to finish my GCSEs. I drank a bottle of Southern Comfort.
Whoa!
I managed to get home and went to bed. I went to sleep on Thursday. I woke up on Saturday.
Way!
Never again.
It's going on the whiteboard for tomorrow. When have you lost a day or more? Oh, that's a good one. You can start emailing us those if you want. Iain.lee@bbc.co.uk. Tomorrow's show is a when have you lost a period of time? That's what we'll call it. When have you lost a period of time? Well, Kelly's about to lose her job. What are you doing?
Minding my own business. What about you?
Clever.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
In Beaconsfield, Amersham Road is partially blocked by a 3-vehicle accident at Ledborough Lane, so it's affecting both directions, causing queues to the A413 and to the A40 London Road. On the A1 southbound, it's looking very slow approaching the Black Hat roundabout from the St Neots Junction. And on the motorways, the M1 northbound is very busy around junction 13 from Milton Keynes South. It's also slow still on the M25 anti-clockwise between junction 17 for Maple Cross and 16 for the M40. On the trains, Bellew Greater Anglia still have hour-long delays through Bishop Stortford, and on the London Underground, the Metropolitan line has severe delays because of a signalling problem at Harrow on the Hill. Samantha Burrough, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Sammy, thank you. Excellent stuff. So tomorrow's show, when have you lost a day, a minute, an hour, a week? Can we find... Oh, and if you've been unconscious for like a month or something, man alive, what was that like? Justin, brilliant stuff today. Kelly, thank you very much. Catherine, we'll have words. Iain.lee@bbc.co.uk. Till tomorrow at 6 from us. Ta-ta.
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Ian. Good morning. Welcome to the JVS show. I'm Jonathan Vernon Smith. It's Wednesday. It's